you were on the panel with me when when they got to the part where they're talking about the charges, and I was in awe. I was in awe. I could not believe what I was seeing.
Well, and people are coping so bad, they're, like, saying Candace set a trap for him, and it's like, I'm pretty sure she didn't. I think she was
No.
literally just trying to say, "Do you know any of the charges?"
Yeah, no, she did not set a trap for him. I mean, yeah, they're trying to say she set a trap for him. He's saying, oh, he had a gotcha. He was also like accusing her of colluding, saying, oh, you looked at your phone. Did someone tell you to ask me that? It's like that right there. When you're accusing the other person of cheating or colluding in some way, like that is acknowledging your own defeat. Like he raised the white flag right there in that moment. And then when she pulls her phone right out and PBD's going through it, like it just he just made it look worse and worse and worse. And then he keeps bringing it back to the receipt and back to the steakhouse. And it just blows my mind because, like, they were trying to debate different things. They were
100%.
trying to make different points. Like he went in there. He's been all this time. He's been talking about the overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson did this. And then right off the bat, he said he's at 75%. But that's a whole other thing. I think everybody's already acknowledged and pointed out enough times like why he was an idiot for saying that and how he kind of just gave away the debate right there, regardless of anything that was going to happen after, because in the court of law, you need to be 100% sure, like beyond a reasonable doubt.
And the definition of overwhelming is not convincing, and he tried to make them seem like they're synonymous, and
He tried to change the definition. He went from overwhelming evidence to, oh, that's just how I feel. And then at the same time, talking about how Candace, this isn't about dreams. This isn't about feelings and vibes. This is about the actual evidence, the overwhelming evidence that leads me to the conclusion that I'm 75% sure that he did this. It's like he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. And like the one thing that I changed my mind about this, because, I didn't even know who this guy was until 2 months ago, but I watched a couple of his debates and I'm like, ooh, like he's pretty good at this. He's pretty sharp. He knows what he's doing. And
mhm.
watch him debate Candace, and it was his worst performance that I've seen. I'm like, wow. Like I thought this guy's smart, but he's a fucking idiot.
Well, think about it like this too. He went to her house, which disarmed him. She brought them breakfast, she said. You had to go through Candace's home. This wasn't at some studio. This was her life that she brought him into. And that would disarm people because people are still human beings at the end of the day. And so he seemed a lot more calm. He didn't use all the same tactics he would. He tried, but he really wasn't able to. And he's normally a lot meaner. And I do think he tampered himself down a bit. I don't know if it was just due to being disarmed due to the scenario he was in. And you'd imagine if you had money on the line, you'd want to kind of go as hard as possible, but he didn't. And he has been a lot worse. And I'm not just talking about the whatever podcast, the video we watched with Dave Smith. I mean, he was ruthless. And he didn't try some of that stuff on Candace. So I think she played her part really well. It was smart to get him at her house.
People are always going to be different when they're in person than when
Mhm.
they're just like on the phone or online or even in on a platform like this where we see each other but we're not together. And I mean, the fact that she's pregnant has to, you know what I mean? And even with all the stuff that I'm saying and saying that he's an idiot, I don't have any personal grudge with Andrew Wilson. Like even the other day when I was playing the clips and then I got to a clip of somebody talking about his wife or whatever, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to skip that. You know what I mean? Because I'm not trying to make anything personal. That's not what it is. And at the end of the day, like, I don't know what type of person that he is behind the scenes. Like not everybody is the same person on camera that they are in their personal life, and a lot of people call him out to be a hypocrite, over whatever the situation is with the wife and her past or whatever. And I'm not even getting into that because it's irrelevant. Actually, it's not irrelevant because he got this reputation of trashing other girls and trashing OnlyFans girls and trashing this. But then when you see that he's married and he is with someone, like he does have stepkids, like that does say something positive about him. You know,
Mhm.
like I have stepkids, and it takes a lot. Like when you take on the burden of your partner's children that you had from a previous relationship. So, like from that aspect of it, like he's a hypocrite, but kind of in a good way, if that makes sense.
100%. It's kind of like I teach I'm a better teacher than I'm a doer. Like that's how some coaches are, and that's totally fine. He also is when you watch the video where he talked to Steven Crowder, Steven Crowder tried to trap him into saying that Candace had man hands, like basketball hands, and he was like, "No." Like he just kind of shut him down. Like he wouldn't really let him actually hate on Candace. He instead focused back on the debate, and I actually thought that said a lot about Andrew because he could have totally crap talked her and said, "Yeah, she's whatever," and he didn't at all. He was like,
It would have
"No."
made him look so much worse, though. He would have gotten if he started with personal attacks and attacking a pregnant woman. The internet's going hard enough on him as it is, you know. And it it
100%, but
re-
it
it
didn't
really
even look like
sucks.
it crossed his mind. Like, it didn't look like it was something he was trying to bite on.
Yeah, I mean Crowder. That's that guy. He's something else.
Yeah, I didn't even know he
He's
existed
something else.
until
A
Candace brought
total
him up.
show. Oh, really?
Yeah,
No,
I didn't know he was
I've known who Crowder was for a long time. He is a complete show. And you talk about who people are behind the scenes and off camera. He's got some blips on his record.
I've heard of that, but
Yeah,
only
not
because of
good.
Candace.
Oh, Candace brought it up.
I don't know if she, like, brought attention to it or, like and then other people were said his name and then it started circulating online, but that's the only way I came through that information.
Yeah, I saw the video. It didn't look good.
Oh,
Again, you
no.
never really know what's going on in somebody's home and in their relationship. And I don't like to judge people by their worst moments. But like the way he was talking to his wife, who was pregnant at the time,
Wow.
is kind of consistent with like the smug and obnoxious persona that he puts on the camera.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not good.
I only have literally only ever seen him talk because of the Andrew Wilson thing.
Oh, really?
Yes. I've never
Oh,
given him one piece of
he's a
mind.
total clown, that guy. And he's not
Yeah.
even American. Well, actually, he might be an American citizen now, but he's from Canada. He wasn't he
Oh, like
wasn't he
Ted
wasn't
Cruz?
born Wait, Ted Cruz was born in Canada?
Oh, yeah, that's the joke.
How
When
is he
Texas
running
was
for
having
president?
so many problems, he, like, flew up to Canada or
But
wherever.
wait,
He
wait.
flew somewhere. He went somewhere, and people are like, "Oh, that's what happens when you" Yeah, he's from
No, but
Canada.
Ted Cruz couldn't have been born in Canada because he ran for president.
I thought so. Thought he was
No,
born there.
you can't run for president unless you're born
I
in
don't know,
America.
something about Canada. Someone tell me in the chat.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure that Ted Cruz was born in America. But Steven Crowder was not. He's not born in America. Which, like when you see people that are in doing American politics and political commentary and they're just like shilling for one side or the other, it's
Mhm.
like, I don't know. It's not that big of a deal, but it stands out to me a little bit.
Yeah. Apparently, Crowder is a dual citizen is what the chat says.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm
Yeah.
sure he's been here for a long time. But he I mean when Charlie died, he
Mhm.
was like one of those guys that was like trying to play the victim and act like he's so brave and he's so much danger and he's going to go to his next event wearing a bulletproof vest, talking about how he has to spend more money for security and whatnot. And it's just like, dude, like just give it a break. Like now,
Okay.
like you're grifting off in a bad way. It's not a good look.
The chat says Cruz was born in Calgary. So he was born in Canada. He went to Cancun during the Texas thing. So Cruz
Oh.
is a Canadian.
So how is he running for president? I thought that you had to be born in America to run for president.
I thought it was just American citizen.
No.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how he went around that.
Oh, that's odd. Did you watch Barron today?
A little bit. I didn't get to watch it as much as I wanted to.
I watched part of it. You want to see how he opened it?
Yeah.
I thought it was hysterical.
So he acquired U.S. citizenship at birth under federal law.
Oh, at birth. Okay, so it's a technicality.
Yes.
He got citizen. Wait, were his parents
Chat's helping
citizens?
us up.
Maybe his parents were citizens. They were visiting. Who knows?
American-born mother and Cuban-born father. Thank you, chat. Thank you, Savage. I see you in the chat.
Interesting. All right. Well, look how Barron opened up his show today.
Well, that was a disaster. Not for everyone. Not for everyone, just for Smoke Boy. I just had a hankering for a fresh jar of pickles here. Ah, yes, ladies and gentlemen, a fresh jar of Wickles pickles. This is not sponsored. I just, for some reason, had a deep desire to open a jar of pickles. I don't know. Guys, welcome in. Welcome
I did
in.
not see that.
Welcome in.
Yeah, like this guy, he's gonna be hearing about this for a while. And the more people try to say that he won or try to stick up for him or keep attacking Candace, like the worse it's gonna be for him.
They just lie. We've seen it through so many things. I actually just posted a video about him saying he proposed to TPUSA that he will be the conspiracy theorist liaison.
But when was that? When did he say that?
I think it's a few months ago. I found it on a video of someone talking about it. And they were talking about how Andrew Wilson was going to come for Baron Coleman and Candace Owens.
Oh,
And he's
so
like,
that was probably around the time that he started popping up in the X spaces.
Probably.
I mean, listen, the plan could have worked. You know, he could have actually studied the case and knew what the hell he was talking about instead of just, you know, going to TPUSA and getting whatever talking points that you know, based on what I hear is what it appears to be what happened, because he had no knowledge of the case. And then on top of the fact, you know, after he accused Candace of colluding when he got mopped, he couldn't name one charge. And the one charge that he named, when she corrected him, he was trying to brush it off like it wasn't a big deal, when that's what the whole motion was about 48 hours earlier, or whenever it was that motion was filed, because that's what it was about. It was trying to get the death penalty off the table. And, you know, the shills were trying to act like it was an admission of guilt when they know better. Like they know they're lying. That's the worst part. They know exactly what they're doing. It's just like when they left the last day of the preliminary hearing and they tried to tell everybody that they saw it all in 4K. They know exactly what they're doing. And then time and time again, they keep getting caught. They keep getting called out. And then now you see some of these people online saying enough is enough. Erica and TPUSA need to start suing these people already. It's like, what are you talking about? Sue us for what? Sue us for what?
That's the last trick. They have all these tricks. They're gaslighting, denying, making up mainstream media videos about the Candace conspiracy web. And now finally, when the internet's like, well, Candace is undefeated, sorry. Now they're going to suing. That's their next. And then there's one final step, and that's unaliving. But, you know, there's certain steps throughout their processes.
The lawfare that goes on in this country is just disgusting. You know, a lot of people think that that's how they flip Trump. You know, different people have different theories on that. But I mean, I'm not even going to get into that right now. But, you know, it's still, despite everything that, you know, Trump has done during this administration, all the betrayals, all the disappointments, like every time he brings Erica to the White House and talks about how great she is and how he hopes she sues everybody, it's like pouring a little more salt on the wound.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I don't feel like Charlie Kirk seemed like the suing type. Like he had so many people come up to him and talk so much smack to his face and try and tell him he was an anti-Semite, and then also say that he was a fascist, and then also say he was all these words. And he was just out here like, whatever, brush it off my shoulder.
Yeah, people don't even, like, there was a time if you got called anti-Semitic, like, people would get offended. It's like, well, how could you call me that? Now it's like, I don't even think people really care anymore. Like people that have really like paid attention to what's going on and what's happening to our country and what's happening overseas and how we got in this mess. You know, it's like using that term, especially on somebody that knows that it's not true. Like it really is just like kind of a way of people exposing themselves. You know, every time you see like Rabbi Shmuley in the city or wherever he is pulling out his camera and like running to cops and this man assaulted me. You know what I mean? It's like the same thing.
Well, and if you can't prove you're a Semite, how can you prove I'm anti? I don't want to play that game.
That's a whole other conversation. I wasn't even trying to get into that.
I'm just saying you can't call me something that I don't know that you are.
Oh my, wow. Shots fired. Shots fired, ADN.
If you can't prove it, I'm not it.
You know, and speaking of proving it, all Candace Owens had to do was debate him on what Andrew Wilson was claiming to be overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson did this. And, you know, I've been making this point all weekend. You don't like, even though doesn't necessarily mean that it's the other automatically, like proving that Tyler Robinson did this normally wouldn't automatically mean that he's a patsy. But when you look at the push that has come with this narrative that Tyler Robinson did it, like from day one, and how hard that they've been trying to drive this thing home, it's like, why? Like, why? Like, what made everybody so sure that Tyler Robinson did this, that they were going to put so much time, money, resources in spreading that message?
I was talking to my AI about this debate, and it really got stuck on the fact of the screwdriver being on the roof. And that was something that flagged me when I'm like, oh, so they think the screwdriver, when you look at this case, is some like slam dunk, which is really weird that it's not the actual rifle. And I was kind of finding that odd because I was thinking to myself, like, why would the screwdriver on the roof ever prove that Tyler Robinson even did this? Like, that doesn't mean anything to me.
I think they were just trying to convince everybody that the screwdriver was actually on the roof. I don't think it was. I don't think it was. I think they found it in the woods.
Well, the screwdriver footage is nowhere to be seen on Officer Bagley. So
and in the dispatch calls that Baron Coleman put out a while back, when you know, the same calls that described the man as wearing aviator glasses, which Tyler Robinson wasn't wearing, but that guy in the parking lot that they were trying to tell us was Tyler Robinson was wearing aviator glasses, which I find pretty interesting. But, you know, they had the calls of when they were on the roof. Like, we don't have the body cam footage, but we have an officer on the scene that's describing what he saw, and he never said that he saw a screwdriver. He's even pointing out to the imprint of, you know, somebody was clearly laying in the gravel here, but he didn't say anything about a screwdriver. That came days later. Nobody heard about the screwdriver being on the roof until the 15th. Those first couple of days, they kept saying it was in the woods.
that it's like, did they just scrounge and find a screwdriver at his house? Like, and they're like, this definitely has to have his evidence. It was in his room. Like,
Well, no, they said that they found a screwdriver, but they said that they found the screwdriver in the woods.
right, but I'm just saying, like, for you to pick this object, right? It's like, I don't know, it just seems really random. Like, you don't need the screwdriver if you have the rifle DNA. You don't need some of these things. But they are saying the screwdriver was on the roof, which proves Tyler Robinson was on the roof because it has the most DNA of Tyler Robinson. That's weird. Like, it's like, okay, but can you prove any other way that Tyler Robinson was on this roof? Because we don't even have actual verification that the screwdriver was on the roof.
You know what the crazy part is? If they would have just said that it's still an open investigation, that we think that other people were involved, all these people that have spent all this time and energy criticizing and trying to catch them in their lies, which they've done successfully, would actually be trying to help them. They would actually be trying to branch out the Tyler Robinson web and find out who else could have been involved. But the fact that they said lone shooter, they acted like it was an open and shut case, and they just shoved it down everybody's throats, and they got the worst people to do it. They had Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, Brandon Tatum, Megyn Kelly, and just nobody bought it. Nobody believed it. It looked so bad, and it overlapped with the covering up of the Epstein files, which made everything even more shady. And then all of a sudden, we're at war with Iran. The one thing that Charlie kept telling everybody that we could not let happen. And it just snowballed. It just snowballed. And now it's like every day more and more people are waking up to the fact that, like, we have a very, very corrupt government. We've always known that it was corrupt, but now it's just getting rubbed in our faces in such a blatant way like never before, that, like, people, more and more people just don't want to stop talking about it. And it's like, you know, we can't. We have to keep spreading the word. Like, listen, people need to go to jail. People
100%.
need to go to jail. I'm not one of these people that thinks that we need to have a revolution. I don't think that would end well. I don't think that it's
Never does.
the Christian way. Like it's just not the way to go. But we do need to get more involved in our politics. We need to get more involved in our local communities, our local elections, and we need to start building a real foundation of America first candidates. You know, like you can't just
100%.
wait for somebody else to come along. Like everybody has to get involved themselves, myself included. And we have to do this, and we have to have accountability. Like we cannot let this get swept under the rug. People need to go to jail.
Yeah, and it's like kind of a call to people that are already in these establishments. What are you doing? Anybody that it's like, good cop, good agent, because you can't believe that they're all bad agents. Like, hold people's feet to the fire if you're already there. Now is the time. It's just doesn't make sense that we're having all of these things being exposed on live television, live internet, whatever, and they just to just sit back. Like, come on, guys, like do something about it. If you're already in place, get more good people in place. But it doesn't seem to happen. It seems like, once taint the pool, you can't get these people out. So I really, really, it's a call to also the people who are already in those positions, like do the right thing.
Yeah, they really just do the right thing. It's like the Spike Lee movie. But and people also, I think they need to make sure that they don't fall for they got to make sure they don't fall for the traps, especially in regards to hate and divisive rhetoric, because I mean, me personally, I've got a lot of people in my family and friends that are both on the left and the right. I've had friends over the years that are from Israel, like not just like I'm not like just one of these people like, oh, I got Jewish friends. Like, no, I've had friends over the years that were from Israel, and they were good people, like people that I like a lot. I know people that have been involved in different levels of government, like I'm not gonna like just start dropping names or positions or anything, but I know that there are good people on all sides. Like I know from
Right.
experience, there are good and bad people on all sides of this. And we just need more of the good people to realize what's at stake. And because at the end of the day, one thing about good people is if they've got a family, they got people looking up to them, they got people that they got to take care of and provide for. Most people, if their family's good, they'll stay out of the way.
Right.
But now we're getting into this dangerous time where there's going to be trickle down effects where, like, yeah, in your mind, it might not be bad enough. Like, you think your family's good, you think your kids are good, but what's the world going to look like in 10 years? What's the world going to look like in 20 years? And we're on a very, very dangerous trajectory that's moving very fast. And we don't even know what this world is going to look like in 10 years. We don't know what the world's going to look like in 5 years. And
Right.
that's what scares me. And that's why I've been like, trying to like sound the alarm on my channel to like not just wake people up, not just educate people, but try to motivate and inspire people to get involved as well.
Yeah, you can't go along to get along. That's not how you keep your freedoms. Holding people accountable in the position you are in, if you can do it, you should. If you can't, then go speak about it. Go to your town hall, go to certain things. A lot of people got flock cameras removed recently. People got these data centers taken off their city's map. I mean, if you can get involved, you absolutely should. And it's not up to someone else to come and save us.
Oh, sorry. Wasn't ready for that yet. I was just getting the next clip ready.
Love that.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, I just said it's just not up for other people to come and save us. Like we as a country have to do it ourselves.
I say it all the time. Nobody's coming to save us. You're not going to see a presidential election where somebody waves a magic wand and, makes everything better. Like we thought we had that with Trump. That Trump was going to come in. He was going to drain the swamp. He was going to end the wars. The economy was going to get better. The border was going to get closed. And the sad part is they've got millions of people convinced that that's kind of what happened. And it wasn't. Not by a long shot.
I don't even know how people believe it. It's like you go to the gas station and it's like, this is expensive. It takes $75 to fill my car up.
And the sad part is we're lucky that it's as cheap as it is. I thought that it was going to be like double the price by now with all this nonsense going on in Iran.
which is crazy because we don't actually necessarily need oil from that side of the world, but it's because other goods will go up and all of that stuff. But yeah,
Well, the problem is the way the market works is that global oil is priced by the global market. You know, because yeah, we might produce enough oil here, but they're going to sell it out overseas. It's all supply and demand.
right.
You know,
The
but there's a lot.
we love the globalists, friends of the show.
Friends of the show.
Mhm.
Did you watch Ian Carroll's breakdown of the debate today?
I watched 2 hours worth. That's as far as I could get, because then Baron came on.
I
Then I tried to
watched
watch Baron.
almost the whole thing.
Yeah, what'd you think?
Um, Come on, I was happy. It's funny too because his breakdown was pretty similar to mine, except
Mhm.
mine was like a lot more ranting and yelling and joking, and he's like, you know, Ian's always tries to come off very objective, and he did a great job with it. And I don't know, it was a real pleasant surprise. I was actually planning on going live earlier today, and then
Mhm.
Stacy texted me saying that Ian's premiering a video. And then I put it on, and then he said in the video, he's like, he acknowledged that it was going to be like a 5-hour video, and it was so good. Listen, anytime Ian Carroll wants to do a 5 or a 6-hour video, whether it's a live or a premiere, it's a good day.
It is, and I will watch more. I will watch it throughout the week.
Yeah, no, he did a great job with it, and I hope that
It's
he's
nice
doing
he's
well.
back for a little bit.
Yeah, he kind of comes and goes.
Yeah, he sounded like his studio's not ready or something. I don't know. That was the impression I got.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't. You know, he's a very secretive person.
I don't blame him. I'm pretty private myself.
Yeah, he doesn't like get involved in a lot, you know, the group chats and all that. Like he's not as social. I mean, maybe he is, but he just has a much tighter circle.
I don't blame him with how
I
politics
don't
are.
blame him at
The way
all.
people fight on X and try and do infighting over literally nothing. Uh, yeah, I don't blame him.
Well, think about everything we've had going on the last couple of weeks.
That's exactly what I'm thinking of.
You kind of like just broke onto the scene.
I know. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. Yes, yeah. It's well, and that's kind of the sad thing is like, you know, that's kind of what gets people known is like if you've been pulled into some drama and then you're you're the new thing. Not 10 months spent on the case.
I know. What has changed your mind about all this in content creation in the last 2 weeks since, you know, you've been making some more connections and making new friends?
Well, a couple things. So people are all different in their mindset and how to approach this game. I'm still of the mindset of you shouldn't have to make enemies because one day you may need to talk to them, whether it's about a story they break or it's information you might want to share in your show, things like that. So I try and stay still pretty neutral towards people that maybe other people don't necessarily prefer. And that's my strategy because the thing is that times really do change. And when you might need to talk to people. Like think about like Tucker Carlson's career. He's talked to so many people. And I want to be like Tucker. I want to be able to talk to anybody, no matter what side of the aisle they are, or you know, if their opinions agree with mine or not. Now, if they're like absolutely trashing somebody that I really care about, probably won't want to associate with them. But other people may not see it that way. They may think that you're being soft. They may think you're just, you know, it's just different strategies. So you have to figure out how to navigate those relationships. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, I've dealt with that a lot too. Like there are times, like for me, especially when there's drama, I think that de-escalation should always be the initial approach. If you go into if you have a toxic situation or you have people that are going at it and you're right off the bat just inserting yourself and just trying to pour gas on it and just turn it into a bigger thing, you're not really doing anything to help.
No.
You know, like de-escalation whenever possible is always the right play.
I agree.
Otherwise, what are your intentions really? You know, and that was why I backpedaled when you know, like when Liz and Gary were you know, getting into it, and then I inserted myself into that. It was because I had already been, that was when certain stuff came out about Gary, and it was already getting talked about. I had already brought it up, and then he was dragging her right before I was going to go live, and Liz was friends with Danks, so I'm like, let's have her on,
Right.
But then once after a couple videos, I'm like, all right, let me talk to this guy. Let me see what's going on. Maybe
Right.
there's another side of this story.
Maybe he's reasonable.
Yeah. And he was pretty reasonable on the surface, but I'll tell you this. Seeing him post now about how, Andrew Wilson destroyed Candace Owens clearly, and that it's time for Erica and TPUSA to start suing. Like, it's disappointing.
It is
disappointing. I feel like he's proving a lot of his critics right.
Yeah, I agree, because I feel like there is a time and a place for stuff like that. If you think about some of the bigger people that have been doing this a long time, like you can think Ben Shapiro versus Tucker Carlson feud. They still kind of have a sense of humor about it. Even you watch their videos and you're kind of like they know the art of the game, whereas some of this stuff just seems very lowbrow and not sophisticated. It just seems kind of like you're just pushing whatever. So I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't suit people to do that unless they're like actually good at it. That's what I'll say. I just think there's certain people who are kind of good at it. They can kind of jab at each other and it's still kind of friendly. PBD even gave Andrew Wilson a hard time in the middle of the Candace debate, joking about the Erica Kirk 4 clips. Like, there's a funny way to do things, and when you come off petty as a man, that's not a good look.
Yeah, you don't want to come off petty, and you don't want to be the one to make things personal. If someone else makes something personal and lines get crossed, then there's nothing that you could do. Like, you got to do what you got to do. But you don't want to just be the one to just go there.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. Like, I've talked about the show on my I've talked about this on my show a lot. I've had a lot of ups and downs, and I'm in a really good place in my life right now. I'm in a really good headspace. And now that I am, it's like, I just don't need it. You know what I mean? Like, I got nothing to prove. I feel like a lot of these people that make it personal and they go on with these attacks and back and forth and whatnot. It's like a lot of times you get people that feel like they have something to prove. Like, it's not coming from a place of confidence. It usually comes from a place of insecurity. So, like, don't get me wrong. I'll have my fun, especially now with this Andrew Wilson debate, because this guy talked so much shit, and he didn't just talk
Right.
so much shit, but he like built his platform off of trashing women. And then all of a sudden he wants the spotlight. He asked for this. He really manifested it and did what he could to make it happen. And then once he got in that spotlight, he found out that sometimes it burns. And
Sometimes women are not the R word. He learned a lesson that day. And actually, I can take a joke. I feel like a lot of people really made a big deal about that. I probably wouldn't have said it to Candace Owens in her home. But people do say shit that's like it's old millennial humor. That's whatever. But I don't know. I feel like he learns, maybe next time study a little bit better when you get in front of someone who claims to have been in the GATE program. I just feel like that's a lesson learned for you, sir.
Oh, he said he was in the GATE program?
No, she was. So if you're getting in front of someone like her, buddy, come on. Because, I mean, she didn't even hit him with a lot of jabs. And I've seen other ones of her debates.
She had so much discernment.
She did.
She could have gone so much harder. Like, she really could. She could have, like, totally obliterated him.
And they
didn't.
actually both didn't. And I felt like that's what I think people were waiting for, the 1-2 punch for both of them. And Candace did it classy with the question of, do you know the charge? Do you know a charge?
It was the best way to do it.
It was super classy. Also, they're older now. I mean, if you think about it, both of them are parents. It's not like when Candace was first coming up in her late 20s. It's like she has 4 kids now. Andrew has kids. Like, at a certain point, it would be a little distasteful to come off just kind of nasty to each other. So I will say this sentiment of the debate, even though there were some like moments where you're like, Andrew, stop, like just stop. You kind of look like an asshole. I've seen him look way worse. So I'm sure if you haven't seen any of his debates, you thought he kind of was one, but he definitely could have been 100% worse, in my opinion.
Yeah, but you know what? I feel like in those other debates, he knew his audience, he knew his topics, and he felt in his heart that he was in the right. And in this, I think he knew. If he didn't know going in, at some point throughout that debate, he realized that Candace believed in what she was saying. And
Right.
that makes all the difference in the world. If Andrew went into this just thinking that Candace was like a grifter and that she was just like, if he started like believing the hype and drinking his own Kool-Aid and thinking that Candace was like making this shit up as she goes along because she has a retarded fan base and they just, she's just got a carrot on the stick, reeling them in and they're following her around, and that was his mind state, he was probably confident. And then he gets in there and he sees how, because Candace, you even said it yourself, Candace looked upset during a lot of moments.
She did.
Like you could tell, like watching this debate, that Candace knows what she's talking about. She believes in her words and she's not going to back down. And I think that for Andrew Wilson, whether he'll admit it or not, like he got to come to that realization with her in person at her house while she's 7 months pregnant.
Yeah. Well, and PBD did too. You could see it. Like he wasn't I didn't think he did a bad job. He said he said exactly what he's going to do. I'm going to sit here, let you guys talk. He pulled up what the clips were. It would have looked better if maybe he would stopped at some points and kept them a little bit more on track where they may have not gotten to how Andrew's theory is true. We kind of didn't hear a lot from Andrew on how there was this overwhelming evidence. And that would have been nice to get back on track with that as a moderator. But quite frankly, like there were moments and people are clipping him where PBD is like, whoa, what the hell? Like, he's kind of like, oh, that's okay, Andrew. Like, you might be in for it.
I just can't believe that he didn't do his homework. Like, how did he not know the charges? He should have known all of them.
Yeah, it's a big case though. We've been following along for a long time, and even I can't remember many. Like I probably wouldn't have wanted to do that debate with somebody else because what I decide to focus on isn't what Candace decides to focus on versus what you decide to versus Allie. It's a big case. So for him to do that, he must have felt very confident in his debate skills and not necessarily his case skills. Because I mean, how much content have you watched about this and then researched on it and then spent hours making content for? I mean, I'm talking like we have done.
I still don't know everything. I still forget
That's what
stuff
I'm
all
saying.
the time.
So,
Ian was talking about that today. It's like you might forget a little detail and then you'll hear someone else say it and be like, oh yeah, that's what it was. But if you never studied it and you don't have it anywhere buried in the back of your head, like you're going in there blind. Like he really was like walking into a freaking duel with with a sword and just blind.
which is why maybe he thought what she was saying didn't 100% make sense, which came with the classic line of, I can explain it for you, but I can't understand it for you.
Oh, that was just amazing.
But,
Amazing.
and sometimes people feign stupidity to kind of poke jabs at the other person. And maybe he did some of that, but then also there are points where it's like, if you really don't know why this is relevant because you haven't watched for the past 11 months, he might miss it. Like I'm not giving him anything on that. I'm just saying, like, if you're not paying that much of attention on why it would be important because you haven't had the breakdown or you haven't thought about it deeply and all of those things, I could see in some cases why he'd feel that way. Now, for some of it, I think it was just a tactic, and some of it might have been that we're just too far in the rabbit hole and we know exactly what Candace is talking about.
And also with those clips, like I don't know. I don't think that Andrew Wilson was watching Candace's episodes. I definitely don't think that he picked out those clips. I'm not even going to speculate on who did, like when they were trying to have her in those gotcha moments at the end.
Yeah.
But he did not know. Like he's sitting there trying to play clips and put her on the spot and debate her on stuff. And he did not know the context of any of them. And even Candace said at one point, she's like, the internet's going to clock this. It's like my fan base knows. Candace has freaking millions of followers. Her average episode gets like 1 or 2 million views. And the majority of them watch almost every episode. if not every episode. So you're not going to get away with in 2026 just playing like a 30-second clip of one episode without any context and get people to turn on her. Like, I don't know what these people are thinking.
I don't either. I think they were trying to make her look stupid to these other people's audiences so they could walk away and be like, see, Candace doesn't even know her own show, but this is Candace we're talking about, and not someone like me. Because I have the memory that is like, it's so weird. Like, I can't go back in the back of my mind and pull out a file and then I could remember exactly what it is. But she kind of does. You can tell she has just her mind works differently than a lot of people. So, that probably would have worked on me. I probably would have, a couple of times I'm like, well, what's the point of this clip? And then they would have had to explain it to me and I would have looked stupid. But she reversed it. She explained the clip, what she was talking about, and gone from there. Now, could you, if you were a good bullshitter, maybe still explain the clip, but then the internet later would clock you and be like, Candace, you're lying. You were actually talking about this, but she wasn't. And no one's done that. No one's came back and said, oh, Candace is lying about this clip they played. She was wrong. They can't do that. She's too, she was too good for them.
Never underestimate Candace Owens.
Never. I really truly did feel like I hated that she had to do that 7 months pregnant. I really did. It really bothered me. But I felt like she probably was tired of being harassed about it and wanted to prove like I can still do it. I mean, can you imagine like 30-year-old Candace doing this with Andrew Wilson? He would have been like, it would have been a knockout punch on the ground. And it's like, you still have Candace Owens with all these kids, all these responsibilities, all these people watching all the time, running her household, and then, doing this. I mean, that's a lot. I don't know. She's a hero in that regard.
1,000%. 1,000%. I mean, I can't, hold on. Let me find it. Let me find it.
Someone said in the comments, I'll read a comment. The only way TPUSA can turn this around is to debate Barron, and they need to do it now. And I think that would be a very bad choice.
That would be a very bad choice.
See, the reason why that would be a bad choice is you could see him do similar as Candace in this Julian Dory episode. The amount of time he talked about that case and just all the anomalies and all the things wrong. And he also has a very similar recall to Candace. So that would be a very bad idea. And he probably would be able to point out some of the wordsmithery that Andrew Wilson was doing, even better than Candace, even though she had even called it out. Like, I see what you're trying to do here. He probably would have flipped it back on Andrew, in my opinion. So yeah, I don't know that Barron would be a good choice there. And he sounded like he didn't want to do it. He's like, what would be the point of this? This is silly. But I don't know. I think that it would be interesting. Of course it'd be interesting. But I don't know. I want
to play the clip of when we were watching it live, the part where she asks him the question about the charges, because I was in awe. Like, I couldn't believe it. I haven't even watched it back yet. This is gonna be the first time I'm watching this part back.
Oh, right.
What? I don't know if snark serves you so well.
He's gonna need a trick to get people coming back after this.
I'll release it there. Yeah, that's my intention. But yeah, I'm fine with closings if you want to do closings.
Well, I also would just, if I may ask a question, is that permitted?
Go ahead.
Just so I also have clarity, since your basis has been evidentiary, you keep saying that you have evidence or like you are following evidence. Which one of the charges against, or all of them, do you think Tyler Robinson is guilty of?
The specific charge?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think is that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, but of the 7 charges that he's being charged.
Yeah. Can we list them real quick? I'll tell you exactly which ones. We'll pull them up.
Well, do you know any of the charges that he's up for right now?
Yeah, of course. But I want to make sure that we have them listed.
Yeah, but like can you name one? Because my general perspective is that you don't actually care about this case. You're not following the case.
That's the question.
It's just so wild watching live.
Like, if you're going to engage and you're going to say the evidence is overwhelming that Tyler Robinson is guilty, I just think that you should,
All
like,
right.
can you tell me one
Then let's do the
charge that
counter.
he's,
You can really, yeah, this is a great gotcha.
no, you just got
Don't
to
let him out of
actually
it.
play
Yeah.
clips
Show
out of
us you're
context to be in the hot
actually
seat. So
invested.
please just answer the
This
question.
is fair.
Can
Name
you
all
name-
7
can
since
you-
you've been following the case.
Okay, sure.
Go ahead.
You name one.
Yeah, you named all 7.
I'm happy to do that, but can you name one?
I think he's been charged with murder.
That's actually incorrect.
Okay, great. Now name all 7.
He doesn't even. This is like.
Name all 7.
And I.
Can you
I
name
think
all 7?
I can.
Then do it.
Sure, you don't have to
Do
put
it. No, do it. I'll count them. Go ahead.
you don't have
name
to put
'em.
your fingers up. I can
Okay,
do
hang on.
that.
Name them.
Yeah, sure.
What?
The first charge is aggravated murder because that's what carries
Okay.
a death sentence in the
murder.
state of Utah. No,
Next.
that's not. That is literally not murder.
Okay.
And so
Next.
just for people, no, I don't have to do it in a time limit. There's nothing going on. And just to explain to people the difference of why that really matters and shows that he doesn't actually care about this at all is because aggravated murder, it's narrowly defined,
Just
and because
avoiding
it
the
carries
question.
a death sentence. I'm going to answer the question.
Okay.
I'm
What
just
the
going to
fuck?
recognize that your strategy of thinking that people are intimidated when you try to put a time constraint doesn't work, and you'll be better the next time you debate
I got
someone.
it. I got it. Can you-
The more you cut me off, the longer I'll take. Do you want to just wait for me to finish of why that's a big difference so that
no,
people
I
don't
just
walk
want you
away?
to list the charges.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. You
Wow,
just
he
don't get
looks
to pretend that
bad.
there's a time constraint for me to do that.
Well, how long does it take you to list 7 charges?
He's embarrassed.
My
I'm
God,
speaking.
shut
You just
the
got
fuck
It
to
up.
sounds like you're just
He's
delaying
embarrassed.
it because you don't know. them.
I know all 7 of them,
Then
and I'm
tell
going to
me
say
them.
again because you're going to get embarrassed. You don't have to rush this. I'm also showing an example of a very flawed debate strategy. I
Okay,
actually
well,
am
I
under
got
no
one.
time constraint.
I got one.
Great. The second charge is the felony discharge of a weapon. The next 2 charges are for obstruction of justice.
Okay.
The next 2 charges are for witness tampering, and the
What's
final
the specific charges though?
that is them: obstruction
Really?
of justice,
Both of
obstruction
those?
of justice, witness tampering.
Okay. Wait, and there's no other specifics to it.
He's
Well, we
stupid.
can
Point
why
to
he's
Candace.
doing
He's
that.
embarrassed.
The charges
Yeah.
and then
He's
7.
not
Yeah, you see, the
invested.
bad thing is when you try to be an a-hole and it doesn't work.
What's the 7th?
The last charge is violence in front of a minor.
Wow.
Got it. So then he's being
Yikes.
charged with murder.
Okay.
You just say aggravated murder.
Drop the mic.
Just
That's the distinction. You just want to
It's a massive.
Boom.
It's
Got
like
it.
you cannot
Massive.
say murder versus aggravated
massive
murder.
distinction.
This gets to the entire crux of why him being up for the death sentence. And I actually find the defense's filing about why this is not aggravated to be very compelling of why it's not aggravated murder. I actually think that if the state was going to even try to pull this off, they should have charged him with just murder. And then I do also, again, want to stress to audiences that debate strategy of thinking that you have to speak faster or somebody puts your hand up and they try to pretend like it's some sport. I think it's a blood sport. It's not. It's about being right and being principled when you're engaging. And you can make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time, but at least be genuine in pretending that you care about this case enough to know one of the 7 charges that are up against Tyler Robinson when you say the evidence is overwhelming that he's guilty.
I just want to pause it right there real quick because I feel like with all the fireworks and all the different things that happened and was said throughout this debate, that last part that Candace said has gotten overlooked. And I think I'm even guilty of that too, because after watching this back, because the first time that I watched this with you guys, I was just blown away that he like trapped himself like that. But that last part where she's saying like, look, I want this to be a lesson for everybody with debating. It's not about being loud. It's not about talking fast. You can make mistakes. But for her, like, it wasn't about winning the debate. It was about the truth. It was just about the truth.
Yeah, and then she went on Twitter afterwards and quoted what her advice from Charlie was, and she said, "I took it." And I think the way her face looked there, once again, she did not look smug. She looked a little sad towards the end, and it's one of those things where it's like, I did feel like she really gave everyone a master class on how to manage adversarial people in your life, and why we must fight the good fight for truth. I think she just did a phenomenal job. I got chills whenever I rewatched that. I got chills during too. And it's multiple times. There was one time I went off camera because I was just kind of moved by watching her facial expressions. And I know a lot of people were like liking how she actually was, but I was monitoring her body language more almost the whole time, just trying to figure out what headspace she was in. And I didn't feel like it was the normal Candace punchy Owens. It was more like, I don't know, maybe she was punchy still, but she wasn't really necessarily gloating. Like you could have imagined her in a totally different posture, and I thought she was more just truly trying to show people I am just trying to get to the truth.
And she was so sincere and professional, and she just owned him. She just owned him. Like I don't know how anybody can watch this and watch this debate in its entirety. Like it really tells a story.
100%.
It tells a story. And like I said early on when I was watching it, even after Andrew made that huge mistake saying that he was 75 to 85% sure, which he kind of like he gave himself an L on a technicality there. I still, like, knowing that he's a blood sport debater and his tactics, was worried about Candace, and that there were certain times that I felt like he was taking control of the conversation, or like on the surface that's how it felt. And looking back now, like, I think she just expected it. I think she just knew that it was going to happen. And she's just like, by the end of this, I'm going to make my points. I'm going to say what I need to say. And he could say whatever he wants.
Well, she's been through hell too this past year. It's like, almost an attitude of like, what else what can you do? Like, what are you going to do to me right here? You know what I mean? Like, think of all the times her character has been in question for wondering what happened to Charlie Kirk. She's been accused of slow dripping information. She's been accused of profiting off of her friend's death. She's been accused of many, many things. She said from the beginning, and I'm not trying to glaze Candace here, but she thought she would have a band of people together, realizing, wow, something really doesn't add up here. What's going on? Why did this happen? And I'm sure she felt a level of betrayal that we can't understand, because, mind you, she used to get text messages from Andrew Colvette telling her that Ben Shapiro was talking shit about her and they had her back. So imagine that. And now she has to come on her podcast and
they're
talk shit
all
about
against
that
her.
guy.
And they're all against her now. And they got the backing of the White House.
Yep. So
and at least 2 foreign nations.
at least I hate to laugh about it, but I mean, when Stu Peters came on and said, just pray for Candace Owens, I had a feeling there was, I don't know, that also made me sad, because he doesn't go on and just say all that stuff. So I don't know. I think Candace is battling some things, and I think she did really well at this. She showed a lot of grace.
I just love the unity that we're getting in our community,
Mm-hmm.
because like there is like a movement that's growing right now, and a lot of people see it, a lot of people like realize it, but I don't think everyone realizes how powerful it really is and how important it is and where it's going to go.
I agree.
Because we really are fighting for the life of our country, and we're fighting for not only our future, but for our children's future.
Yeah, especially because freedom just isn't free. Freedom of speech isn't free. What Candace does, she kind of puts herself out there in a way not a lot of us are willing to even do. She challenges big power, big names, big money. And people are like, well, Candace has a lot of money too. It's like, yeah, but you only have
Not
one
that
life.
much. Not that much.
No, it's like
she doesn't have that much money. She doesn't have that much security. She doesn't have that
100%.
much support. Not for what she's up against. No,
not at all. So she's still a pretty fairly real person comparatively to what we're seeing now. Also, I probably should let you guys go. My stuff will be coming to an end here on my end. So
you got to find your laptop charger.
I know. I will try. I don't know where that thing went. I've been back and forth at my sister's house for like all of summer, and so I'm surprised it's the first time I haven't left it there.
How did you lose your laptop charger?
Well, I probably didn't pack it. It's probably on the desk somewhere at her house.
That's a horrible thing.
I know. I'll just have to go back and get it. It's okay. I have her keys. I literally have her keys with me.
All right, so go get it and come back.
That's an hour away. But if I don't see you guys later tonight, thank you for having me, Bays.
I'm kidding. Thank you so much for joining and hopping on, and we'll definitely do something again really soon. And don't forget, I still have to interview you.
Oh yeah.
You interviewed me a couple. You want to do it this Thursday? You want to be my next members only guest?
Yes.
It'll be a different context because you've done a ton of members only stuff with me.
Yes, I do want to say this. I'm going to be on Elizabeth Lane's members only Tuesday, but I'm also going to be streaming as members only. Nate said he might come to that. So I don't know. He might be
What
in
time?
that.
What time?
I think 10 Eastern. So, and then
AM or PM?
PM, 10 PM, late.
Well,
Members only.
I normally stream anyway. I'm gonna have to call Liz. I might have to hop on that too.
Yeah, see, so we might have like a thing. Yeah, because so there's that. That'll be fun. So please join everyone's channels as members only. Tomorrow I'm gonna have someone on with a new theory on what might have happened to Charlie Kirk. I've not seen it circulating. If you guys like EMPs, she is a big EMP type person. So that's what we're gonna do. But I honestly am
Just
super
like
excited.
Lori Franzvey.
Exactly.
She's a big EMP person.
Exactly. So
you're gonna be talking about that?
I think we're not going to talk too much about the players, but I will probably draw some parallels. I'm going to let her do her presentation. She's actually going to be anonymous. And she's going to talk because I found her on X and but I'm going to let her talk and I'm going to show her presentation, and then afterwards I might make a part 2 on what I think of all of it, because it's going to be more like an interview style, letting someone actually show their work. But I hope you come see it, Bayes, because I love this theory. It's pretty cool. Just to learn about EMPs.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I will definitely check it out.
Yeah.
I will definitely check it out. All right. Well, thank you for joining.
Thank you so much.
And I will see you and talk to you tomorrow.
See you. Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. Yo, is Stacy in the chat blessing your boy? I'm going to hit a couple of supers. Then I'm going to go back and play a little more of this clip because it's just too good. And then we're going to move on to some other things. We got some jewels. Pull them on the screen. Ham and Beans. TPUSA paid $300K for this. Shameful. Yes, I agree. If they're going to sue anybody, they should sue Andrew Wilson to get that money back. And you gifted 5 RealBayes memberships. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. We got Stacy in the house gifting 20 RealBayes memberships. Stacy, thank you very much. And if you received a gifted membership from Stacy or anybody else, please say thank you in the chat. Hammond again. PV2 Sergeant Major, U.S. Army Sniper School Instructor Wilson, Turncoat USA. I love that name. Turncoat USA. Turncoat USA Master Mason Gunsmith reporting for duty. Well, when you put it that way. And then we got another 20 RealBayes memberships gifted by Stacy. Thank you very much. That is extremely generous. All right, so let me just get back to this. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick while this is playing. And then if you guys want, we can get into some of Ian. Ian put out like a 5.5-hour breakdown today. So I definitely want to play some of those clips. I watched most of it. I didn't get to watch the whole thing. So we'll get to that in a couple of minutes. But for now, here we go.
If you would like to move to final statements, I'm fine. I want to make sure Andrew has had the time that he has requested.
I think your team
To
would
recover.
like to pull up the 7
What a
charges that
classy
we just
woman.
asked you about. If
Sure.
you guys want to pull that up just to confirm the 7 you went through. Can you guys zoom in a little bit? For
Aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm, obstruction of justice,
Wow.
which is counts 3 and 4, 5 and 6, tampering with a witness, and count 7,
violent
I said offense in the presence of a
in front
minor.
of a child?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's correct.
what
So
I said.
5, 6, tampering witness, 3rd-degree felony. Now, I did notice something. I just was curious about.
Yeah, I noticed something too. She made you her bitch.
When you pulled out your phone, just before you asked that question, did somebody by chance text you that question?
You can check my phone.
I'm just curious.
No, you can absolutely not. I have not had one communication.
Why would
Did
that
you
matter?
cheat?
Person, not even
What?
one
Did you
user in
cheat?
there this whole time. we were here. You
Anyone
wanna check
can
my
look
phone?
this up.
I'm happy to do it because you're just going to get double embarrassed. Where's my phone?
Andrew
curious.
wants
You
to
can
phone a
literally do that. Here you
friend.
go. You're the moderator. Take it.
Let's see
See
it.
if anyone was texted at all during this
Wait
week
for it. Wait for it.
All right.
about the violent charges or anything.
I'm looking through this. You give me
You,
permission.
you
I'm
have
looking
full
at, I'm not
permission
gonna
to
give
go through my
names.
phone. I don't need to
So
cheat.
the last one has nothing to do with it. It's just a compliment.
Mhm.
I haven't even read my text messages.
That's
So
a compliment.
he's reading them.
You're okay. You'll give me permission. I'm
Yes.
just going to read 3 of them.
Yes.
to
Gosh, I
11:32, 'cause
love
after
her.
that, I don't need to read it.
And you know their texts. Could have been telegrams. or something
All I
like
have
that.
is Signal to
What
check that
a
too.
freaking
I only have Signal.
idiot. Check her signal.
Telegram I
May-
used in
maybe
Russia.
she has an
That
earpiece.
was a download
I'll take your word for
This
it.
is about to go
I
viral.
don't need to like. I
Okay.
deeply care about this case. I
Oh,
don't need
you
to
I get it.
defend
Oh
myself.
my
I know
God.
that.
Case. I
Yeah.
just, I have my
Big
other
out for the
question is
beta
about
males
steakhouse
today.
receipt.
You just said that you were done asking all your
Nothing, just so
questions.
you know,
Yeah.
nothing there.
There. I don't.
Yeah. Do you
need to
have the
that.
steakhouse receipts? My question.
I have said several times that I have never said I have the receipt for the steakhouse. I have said the person who's working on that story is going to be forthcoming with the receipt. And that was what I was responding to. And he then dropped the receipt. He redacted elements of it. And I said, stay tuned. He's the one working on that story.
He just got
so
sad.
never-
you haven't actually confirmed that Robinson was at that steakhouse.
All I did,
What?
as I said earlier in this conversation, was I spoke to the
Andrew Wilson was putting so much emphasis on that steakhouse and whether or not there's evidence that Tyler Robinson was there. But meanwhile, if you ask me, I think that there's more actual evidence that Tyler Robinson was at that steakhouse than there is that he was at UVU that day. I'm serious. I want you guys to think about it. So the security footage that they have, when we see the uncompressed version, it does not look like Tyler Robinson. If that is real, genuine footage, it is not Tyler Robinson. I'm sorry. The guy in the staircase that's in black does not look like Tyler Robinson. That image is also compressed. And then we're finding out now that it was also mirrored. So the actual evidence that Tyler Robinson was at UVU seems to be altered or compromised. And that's the evidence that the prosecution presented at the preliminary hearing. Altered and compromised. There's no actual evidence that Tyler Robinson was at UVU. Like I said, you could say the screwdriver, but even that was in the woods. And we don't know that there's evidence that Tyler Robinson's grandfather's rifle was in the area, but there's no evidence that Tyler Robinson himself was at UVU. Whereas when you talk about the steakhouse, there is a receipt like that. If that receipt connects to Tyler Robinson, that is physical, tangible evidence. And not only that, but there's already been a witness that works at that steakhouse that corroborated that he was there. So I don't know what you guys think, but if you ask me, there is more evidence at this point in time that Tyler Robinson was at that steakhouse than he was at UVU. And I think that whoever sent Andrew Wilson to do this debate, that was one of the motives to have him go there, was to try to debunk the steakhouse narrative. Because I think that that could make or break this whole thing. And it could expose the whole cover up. But I don't know. You guys let me know what you think about that. I don't know if that's a controversial opinion. People that have opposing views might think that I'm being biased there, but I really feel that way.
Nothing.
But now what really made my day was seeing the return of Ian Carroll. Fucking love this guy.
For Robinson being a patsy, nothing for any of her conspiracies, nada, zero, zilch. And she backed away on a bunch of them. This is the first time I think she's ever really backed away from the Twigs thing. First time I've heard her back away from the Erica thing, back away from TPUSA, being very cautious about making any of those claims now. Whereas on her show, much more likely to be making those claims.
She's
She just
really
had
backed
nothing
away
the
from
entire debate. Zero.
Candace.
Well, I think that is quite a conclusion. Admitting somewhere, maybe we stalemated. It probably signifies what I've been saying from the beginning, that you didn't feel that you were strong on the actual facts and the evidence, which I was willing to engage with you. I wanted to go over the screwdriver. I wanted to go over the towel, the things that you've mentioned, and you wanted to then move the conversation into a defense of Erica Kirk and her character. And what I've said about Erica, which is my opinion. And I have not edited that opinion after discussing with you. I would like to extend a compliment to you for being willing to sit down and to have the conversation. I still walk away feeling that the people who are jumping on the bandwagon about this case don't care about this case. They don't care about Erica Kirk. It tends to be follow that they take a meeting with Turning Point USA and they come out and suddenly have a lot of junk to say about Candace Owens. And I do want to also stress that Turning Point USA tried to pepper him with something as a surprise. He showed clips that were meant to be a surprise. I did no such thing. I stressed to PBD from the beginning that I was grateful he was taking this on and that I wanted this to be a clean debate because I believe I can win this on the merits. And I believe that I did win this fully on the merits by engaging the evidence of what has happened. I do still believe that there's more evidence which supports that there are more people involved and that Tyler Robinson has been set up and that none of the evidence that was presented was in any way overwhelming, which is why I think you wanted to move to end that discussion quickly and to speak to me about France and to talk about this Panguitch receipt and my timeline. I want to remind people that a lot of the at-home investigators, which you were open to, as you called them, internet sleuths. I think it was on a show that you did right after Charlie was assassinated that internet sleuths would solve this. This is the reason why Charlie, a year on, is still a conversation every single day trending on Twitter. I knew Charlie. I cared about Charlie. I care about finding out what the truth is here. My heart is in the right place. I think anybody who watches my show or even just watches this debate knows that if I get something wrong, I'll instantly correct it and own it. I'm not arrogant. I don't need to sit here and pretend that I didn't misspeak on the Lance thing. It hasn't been ruled out. But you saw that he just really wanted to hammer that point. You know, part of being a well-meaning person is to concede when you are wrong, to take something off a timeline when you know it's not right. And I would like to think that that is why I have eerned the audience that continues to follow me, because they know my heart's in the right place, that I deeply care about Charlie and I deeply care about the answers. I want to thank Andrew's team who are providing the fact checks. It's a very small room that they're in. I want to, as always, thank my team who worked really hard to make this happen and flip this set. And to you, PBD, just for being a great moderator. I think very fair, letting us both speak and making sure that Andrew got out of this what he wanted, which is a little more than what I wanted. But I'm very content with how I dealt with this. And I trust I don't need to convince the audiences with the magic trick of what they need to think about this debate. They can watch it and draw their own conclusions.
Beautiful. Fair from both of you. I think the audience won. And again,
you know, I probably should have played that clip at regular speed. I wasn't the one that sped it up, by the way. That was Ian. He did it to save time. This video is almost 6 hours long. And yo, Stacy, I know you're in the chat. Thank you very much for messaging me today, because I did not get the notification. I did not know that this premiere was happening. And I am happy that I did not miss it because of you. Oh my God. And you're blessing me with 10 more RealBayes memberships. And yo, while we're on this subject, because I noticed that I had a couple of comments. I had a couple comments recently from people criticizing me for promoting the memberships. Guys, I just want to let you guys know, if you look at my views and you look at the size of my channel, I do not have a very big channel. I do not make a lot of money on the ads. In fact, there was a time when people were complaining to me that they were getting too many ads popping up because they didn't have YouTube Premium. So I set it up so that when I go live, that I do not have ads. So when you guys watch me when I'm live, there are no ads. That is me like leaving money on the table so that people could watch me commercial free, because I pay attention to my analytics. I pay attention to my demographics, and I pay attention to what devices people watch me on. And it turns out that between 30 and 40% of the people that watch me, they do so from their TV. So if they're watching me from their TV, I don't want them to have to keep grabbing the remote every couple of seconds if they don't have YouTube Premium to click through the ads. So one of the trade-offs with that is for me to promote the memberships. And I work really hard on the members only content, you know, because if every live that I did was like 4 hours long, people wouldn't click on as many. So sometimes I do a short live that's like an hour and a half, and then I might be on my members only for like 2 hours. I don't do it every time. But now what I'm doing to try to add more value to it is every Thursday night at 10 p.m. or around 10 p.m., I'm doing interviews with different guests. Now, it's not just behind a paywall. The initial interview comes out on the Thursday. You guys get to watch it live on the members channel. But then the following Thursday in the afternoon, I release it to the public anyway. Not the entire thing. I edit it up. I clean it up a little bit. Sometimes people, you know, spill a little tea, or maybe they talk a little shit, something that they're not trying to, something that slips out that they don't want being blasted out to the public. So like, I'll cut that out. But for the most part, you're getting like pretty much the whole interview. So I'm trying to do my best with balancing things as far as the content and the quality of the content that I put out, and, you know, doing the extra for my members that support the channel and make it possible, you know, because like I said, I do this full time. I've been doing this full time since December, and I have not had a single month yet where I've been able to really be above water. This has not been a lucrative career for me thus far. But I don't do it for the money. I do it because I love it. I do it for the community. I do it to get the truth out. I do it so that I don't have to be on the mouse wheel, and that I can inspire other people to get off of the mouse wheel. So sorry for the little rant. I just wanted to get that out of my system because I got a couple of nasty comments about it, actually. So that was why I pinned the comment today with my goal. My goal is to try to get to 1,000 members. I would like to get to 1,000 recurring members, because when people are gifted a membership, it's more like a 1 month free trial. So the goal for me is to get it to 1,000 recurring members, so that then I know that I could pay my bills, I could support my family, I could be comfortable, and then I just get rid of the monetization with the ads and stuff on the lives altogether. But hold on, let me see. I get a couple more messages here. We got the Real Amoroso member for 2 months. Thank you very much. Keep up the great work. This is a freebie. Still got to send a super. Don't worry, buddy. Don't worry. And Real Amoroso, he's another one that is going to be creating content pretty soon. I've been talking to him. I was actually talking to him a little bit today before I started, and I'm hoping to link up with him this week and try to help him get started too, because I know that he has a message of his own that he wants to get out there to you guys. Stacy Rodriguez, member for 1 month. I think I'm going to be a lifetime member, Bays. Your personality is contagious and addictive. I'm hooked. Well, listen, I could read comments like that all day. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I hope you are. And we have Buffy. Today we had the return of Ian Carroll, and tonight we have the return of Buffy. I haven't seen you in the chat. Buffy, she's been going through a hard time. I'm not going to, spill the tea on her. But I'm glad to see you here. I hope you're doing well, and welcome back. Stacy, $20. Where are the super stickers today? There are no super stickers? I don't know. I don't really know. I never sent it. I don't think I ever sent a super sticker. I don't really know about those. I'm still trying to figure out what all these gems and crap are. We got Shifty Lincoln, $5. Thank you very much. Why was Andrew Wilson the only one in the room that looked like a glazed donut? Also, I think I counted 1,376,579 foot shakes. I think you might have missed a few, because the way his foot was shaking. Oh my God. And then we got some more jewels. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would love to have a conversation with Andrew Wilson. Even one behind the scenes, and try to get a read on him, on where his head was at, and if what he thought about Candace and her investigation going in, and to see if his experience with her has changed at all. Because right now he's trying to spin the narrative, so is everybody else, saying that, oh, well, she didn't produce any evidence that it was a foreign nation. She didn't produce any evidence that he's a patsy. It's listen, you guys have a guy that's about to be going on trial for murder, facing the death penalty, and we're still waiting for you to produce the evidence of why that's happening. So it's just more gaslighting that we're all seeing, while this kid's freaking life hangs in the balance. And again, I'm not saying that I know for sure that he didn't do it. I think that, I wouldn't be surprised if he had some level of involvement, but there is definitely some sort of conspiracy going on with this case. There's just been too many anomalies, too many lies, too much suspicious behavior. Even you look at the prosecution presenting all that altered footage. It's come on, what do you think? We're stupid? At some point, pattern recognition counts. All right. When you use pattern recognition and you start factoring in all these anomalies, they become evidence of their own. Every time somebody opens their mouth, every time somebody makes a statement, that's evidence to some degree. And when you add it all up and you put it all together, eventually it starts to paint a picture. You don't need a smoking gun to believe that there's a patsy. Again, you still have to prove that Tyler Robinson did this. And they've failed on every level to do so. But let's go back, play a little more Ian.
Okay, that was a smart line, PBD. The audience won. Whatever. Pretty smart conclusion on Candace's part. She doesn't give a shit. And she's right. No one cares about this debate. Honestly, we've gotten all this way. And let's be real. Everyone that was on Candace's side, they just wanted to watch Andrew Wilson burn. And oh boy, have we not been disappointed. Everyone on Andrew Wilson's side, didn't matter what was going to happen in the debate. They were just going to pretend that he won it. Although it is interesting to watch on Twitter today and tomorrow. I'm excited for tomorrow to see just how quickly the support here just evaporates because there's nothing to support. Yeah. Anyways, like Candace said, you can watch it for yourself and make up your own mind. And that's why I wanted to go through the whole thing. That's why I didn't want to just selectively pick out clips, or at least not only do that. I wanted to also.
Oh, nope, that's not even the clip that I wanted to play.
You know, the FBI put him into a safe house they paid for. They went to the parents as well, to Matt Robinson and Amber, basically said, your life's at risk. There could be somebody who jumps up and wants to avenge Charlie Kirk. And, you know, we're going to watch you. And they went into a federal safe house. What happened next is that they started thinking that the feds were maybe going to, like, maybe not as honest as they thought. And
how do you know all any of that?
So you gotta watch the show, right?
Yeah, no, how do you know that?
I had a source within the Robinson family.
You have a source.
He wouldn't know that because he doesn't actually know. And he didn't watch her. He didn't do any prep. He didn't do any prep. He doesn't have to watch her show on a regular basis. But the master debater, the blood sports debater, the #1 debater should be doing some prep, bud. You're not so good at debate that you don't need to do prep. You're so good at debate because you do good prep. Duh. And in this case, Andrew clearly did not do a lot of prep.
An anonymous source, of course. So there's no way for us to verify that what you're saying right now is actually even true, is
Find
it?
it to be reliable hearsay.
So this contention is a critical piece that the Fed sloppers come out with all the time. They always try to attack this angle from different perspectives, and it never goes well for them for a couple of reasons. They repeatedly try to present Candace Owens as when she has a source, she's just making stuff up and it can't be trusted. And she's never brought receipts and it's always just made up and there's never any proof, which is patently untrue. She has over and over and over completely dick slapped the entire Zio-slop narrative by saying she has information and claiming it without presenting the source and evidence yet, letting them all pretend like she's making it up and then dropping the source, like the text messages, the screenshots, etc. That's happened multiple times. But furthermore, Andrew Wilson seems to not be familiar with what journalism is and with what a journalist is and not know how that works. So let's just remind us all that in a court of law, you're dealing with evidence and such in a legal framework. In a judicial framework, you're arguing the case based upon its legal merits in a legal fashion. Candace ain't one of those. She ain't there. That's not her job. She is a journalist, and her job is to engage with information as a journalist does, which is completely different. And the standard for evidence is completely different. The standard for proof and all that, the way you tell the story, it's all completely different. Obviously. And when you are a journalist, one of the most fundamental parts of journalism is having sources. Without sources, there's basically no journalism. And the whole point of journalists is that they establish credible reputation so that when they get a source, if the source wants to remain anonymous, the journalist can replace the credibility of the source that they're not going to give away with their own credibility by saying, I'm a reputable journalist that has reported well in the past, and I vet my sources, and you know I vet my sources. So when I say I have an anonymous source that told me these things, you can trust me because of my reputation. And in the past, our system has grouped journalists up into mainstream news organizations that share credibility. And so in the past, the Washington Post had credibility, and the Washington Examiner had credibility. The New York Times had credibility. And when a journalist working for them has a source, they can vet that source up to the New York Times' standards, and then they can all have a conversation with their editors and stuff and say, this story is good to go. You've done the requisite vetting. Our reputation is intact. We believe this. We are good to run it. But if they break that trust over and over and over, people start to not trust the entire New York Times. So it's critically important for the organization's reputation to remain intact for that exact reason. And that's the story of why the mainstream news is no longer trusted and no one fucking gives a shit about them anymore, because they broke that trust over and 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 over. Independent journalists use the exact same system, except the trust is entirely your own. And I have established my trust in the way that I do. And some people think that that's 0. And my audience thinks that it's high. And there's other people in between. Andrew Wilson has established his credibility and his trust over time. Candace has established hers. And it is her job to have anonymous sources. That is the whole point of journalism. And she does it exceptionally well. And having seen it from the inside and the outside.
Yeah, Ian is 100% right. Hold on 1 second, though. Guys, do me a favor. If you're my mods, pay attention to the chat. I just got rid of that guy. Yo, that shit does not fly. I don't want no racist, hateful bullshit in my streams, in my chats, ever. Yeah, that's going to be an auto ban. No, but what Ian was saying is 100% right about sources. And it's actually crazy that Andrew Wilson would like try to question that and say, "Oh, you got a source? You got a source? Like, who is it?" It's like, do you know anything about how journalism works? You know, like, and I've spoken multiple times about how I had sources. I had sources at the courthouse during the preliminary hearing. I also have sources that have spoken to members of Tyler Robinson's and Lance Twiggs families that factor into why I believe what I believe about this case. You know, it's all cumulative. It all adds up. And who knows? Maybe that was one of the other motives to have Andrew Wilson do this. Is try to maybe shame her or attempt to get Candace Owens to spill the beans on her sources or discredit her sources. And that's just ridiculous. Oh, we got a couple more supers here. Thank you very much, guys. Dan Martin, love your work. I found you from watching Nate. Yo, shout out to Valhalla VFT. Yo, he is the man. And if you came from there, then thank you very much. And thank him as well. We got Shifty again. Thank you very much. The case fell apart for me from the beginning with the ballistic impossibility. Operation Roadkill is the only logical explanation at this point. It's wild to me that the FBI committed a felony getting rid of the SUV. Yeah, that whole thing with the SUV is really weird. That thing definitely should have gone into evidence. I mean, I'm not exactly sure how all the laws work, but you would think that when somebody gets assassinated, that they're going to hold on. Now I got to pay some. What is this now? Getting a lot of troublemakers tonight. But yeah, when you have somebody get assassinated, I feel like anything that has blood on it should be getting taken into evidence. I don't know how that SUV was able to get cleaned up and resold in the time that it was. Like, we're not even at trial yet. I find that very odd. That doesn't really make any sense to me. And I don't know if they actually committed a crime by doing so, but I think it should have been a crime if it's not. We got Stacy again. Thank you very much. I love how Candace managed to get the word pickle into the conversation without making it obvious. I didn't even catch it until Barron mentioned it. Yeah, so I didn't catch it either, but somebody somebody messaged me about it in my Discord and told me and then sent me the clip. And I'm like, oh, wow. Yeah, she said she didn't want to she was telling Andrew that she thought that he was trying to get her into a legal pickle, or that she didn't want to get in a legal pickle, which I found to be very funny, as I'm sure most of you did as well. And it's just so wild seeing the contrast of like opinions on X. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I feel like everybody is entitled to their own opinions and beliefs, but it's really hard to take anybody seriously or think that or see them as credible if they're trying to say that Andrew Wilson won that debate. It's like, how? On what merits? On what merits? Like, it doesn't even make any sense. This is sad news. An actress, they're saying, passed away.
News just into the newsroom. Sad news to report. ABC News has confirmed actress Hayden Panettiere has died. ABC News received a statement from her father, Skip Panettiere, announcing she passed away. No word yet on her cause of death. You will recall Hayden starring in the ABC hit show Nashville and the soap opera One Life to Live. She was also in the movie Remember the Titans. Hayden Panettiere was just 36 years old. We will bring you the latest information as it becomes available right here on Eyewitness News and on ABC7 NY.
That's really sad. R.I.P. Man, 36. It's only a year younger than me. Life is short, guys. Life is short. That's sad. I hate hearing that. Sorry, somebody had texted me about it, and then I was scrolling on X and I saw it. So I just thought I would share. I wasn't exactly sure who it was. We got Ryan, $5. Thank you very much. What's up, Bays? Is everyone else excited for when Nate drops the hammer for Stolen Valor? What? There's another one? Yo, I'm telling you, if you're trying to promote Stolen Valor, Valhalla VFT is going to find out, and he's going to come for you, and he's going to expose your ass. Yeah, Nate went live yesterday with Jesse on Fire, Elizabeth Lane, and Dan from Heavy Duty Country, and they put on a freaking great show. They were also covering the debate, but then they got into a deeper conversation a little later, which maybe I'll play in a little bit, where they were talking about relationships and, how your relationship with your parent will have an effect on what type of husband or wife that you're going to be, especially in regards to men and how they treat women. It was a really interesting, deep conversation, and it was just a great show.
On to Joe Rogan, and you're like soft explaining away why Erica had to take over Charlie's company when they don't have a parent at home. So now you're a feminist icon. Like, you just go into the headquarters and you just shift all of these perspectives.
That's a bizarre criticism.
Brutal.
Like,
It's not,
in a bigger
dude.
Girl boss position than you.
Yeah, I'm actually no.
You're in the
this is-
biggest of the girl boss positions.
What does that
you
have to
don't
do with
have to
your
do this.
behavior,
You
guys?
just do this. You could definitely not do it at all.
The problem, and this is where she could have chimed in, is she did her own show on her own. Her husband didn't start it and then die, and she just took it over. And
Candace
also,
built
Candace's show is nowhere near the size of TPUSA in terms of how much, well, it's probably near, but in terms of how much money they bring in, TPUSA, I think, is doing $100 million a year.
It's a
Candace is
billion-dollar
probably,
corporation, dude.
yeah, Candace is probably doing 50, 60 million a year with everything included. So, but she did it.
But it's also so much simpler to run her show than run TPUSA.
Oh,
yes,
it's a nonprofit. That's like crazy work. But at the same time, it's like, dude, Erica was on reality TV
Paradise
and a stay-at-home mom.
whatever it is. Yeah.
I said this last night, and he's about to go into like, oh, well, it's his legacy. Of course she has to take it over. No, put a CEO in there who's not going to destroy the company like you are, Erica. And then you preserve his life's work.
Well, why don't we get Liz's take on this? Because Liz actually was the COO of a big media company. You've actually ran that from that level. And Liz, I'm sure you're going to give us context that, like, hey, some random lady that's never done anything in the media sphere taking over as the CEO or the COO of a huge media conglomerate. What would you think for you in that position to be like, hey, we're going to hire this random dude's wife who has zero experience to be the CEO of our media empire?
And how did you do that when you're a girl and all girls are retards, according to
right?
Andrew?
Yeah, all girls are retards.
Jeez.
Well, according, by the way, this is a good question, Nate, because I got so much shit today.
Really
about
good question.
Yeah. So my boss, who was very absent during the whole thing, because that's what he wanted, he brought me on to say, like, hey, listen, I'm staying as a CEO, but I'm going to be an absent CEO because I have multiple other businesses. So you're going to run this whole thing, right? So I'm like, great. And I did, but he was Jewish. And I always get this, like, you work for the Jews and blah, blah, blah. Like
everybody does.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Like, can you imagine like someone saying that on Dave Smith, the coolest guy on earth? He's Jewish, you know, or Norman, or, you know, or Glenn Greenwald, or somebody who's like bigger fighter than I have ever been, you know? So, but yeah, so first of all, it was very hard because there were times, months on end, where I only slept like 4 hours, okay? And my company was much smaller than TPUSA, no doubt. So can you imagine running TPUSA with no experience? This is why I really don't believe she's actually doing it. I just don't believe it, right?
I don't believe either.
So,
she's the face. Yeah, she's the face.
Yeah, she's being the face.
Exactly. And here's the thing, guys. I will say something that many people won't like, but I believe in it. So if Erica had been Jackie O, like, Jackie Onassis, Jackie Kennedy or something, who could have pulled it off in many ways. And if Erica said, you know what, I will continue the messaging of this organization as Charlie wanted, instead of bringing people that Charlie hated on stage, I don't think that she would have so much backlash at all. So, yeah. Like, people would support her fully, but that's not what she did, though. Candace mentioned in this interview, Candace did not go after Erica for the longest time. And by the way,
none of us did.
No.
None of us here did.
Candace completely.
I was saying sorry to her.
Yeah.
I was saying sorry to her on videos.
Months and months before any of us had any criticism of her.
And I'm glad they said that and brought that up, because that's so true. Candace was sticking up for Erica. Everybody was. Well, almost everybody. But a lot of people, especially bigger accounts, were sticking up for Erica for the longest. It was the fans, it was the audience that were saying that something was wrong. Myself included. I'm sorry. But at the memorial, when she did the whole "I forgive that man" thing, it just felt wrong. It just, the way that it rolled off of her tongue and into my ears, like, my spidey senses were just tingling. And then when I saw that she did that video over his casket, like, all mic'd up and stuff, taking pictures and recording footage, I'm like, people don't do this. This is not normal behavior. Like, who thought that was a good idea? And was it her idea? Because if it's her idea, then there is something really wrong. And if it was someone else's idea and she was not completely mortified, then there's also something really wrong. And I agree with their take. I don't think that Erica is making all these big decisions there. I do think that she is the face. Like, I don't know who Erica Kirk is. I don't know her circumstances. I mean, for all I know, she's afraid for her life and she's just playing ball. Like, it doesn't really feel like that's the case, but you can't rule it out. I don't know. But, like, this idea that, all these people turned on Erica Kirk and Turning Point USA because of Candace Owens and all these other creators in her orbit is just bullshit. It's just bullshit. It's just more gaslighting. It's just more lies. It's just more trying to rewrite history to fit their narrative and push the agendas. And it's just nonsense. And these people should know better. Andrew Wilson should have known better. The Steven Crowders, the Megyn Kellys, all these other people, like, they know better. They know what the deal is. It's just, I don't know. And this is why I get inspired to do what I do and to just be honest and to tell the truth. And listen, like, there are a lot of times that I say things that piss off my audience. I think I have a very forgiving audience at times, because there have been times that it's because I don't pander. I say how I feel. I'm not always right. I don't always expect to be right. I correct myself when I'm wrong, but at least I keep it real. At least I keep it real. And when I get new information, I factor it into the other information that drew me to my initial conclusion. And sometimes I change my mind. And that's the biggest problem with this whole Tyler Robinson case since Charlie Kirk's been assassinated, because they started pushing this narrative right off the bat. Day one, said, we got the guy, open shut case. And that was almost a year ago. And now, throughout the course of the year, you have dozens, if not hundreds of people doing their own private independent investigation. And all of the information has been converging at different points and reaching different creators, not just Candace, but especially Candace. And it's been getting out there. And the whole world is finding out all these other factors, all these other details. This one lied about this. This one has business ties with them. This one knew this person in whatever year. All these things play a role. So when you take that and you factor that in, and then you look at what Charlie stood for, and you realize that what Turning Point USA is doing now is a contradiction to what Charlie used to stand for when he was alive. And then you also add in the factor that all this was overlapping with the covering up of the Epstein files. In fact, the day Charlie was assassinated, they passed a vote to bury the files. And then you factor in the war with Iran. You know, it's not like people feel and think what they do because of Candace Owens or any other specific creator. It's a lot of different factors, all this different information that's been compiled and been processed in all of our brains, and all of us talking with each other, whether it's in these chats in the YouTube videos, or it's in the Discord, or it's on X. Then you have X Spaces, where you can have 20 different people having a conversation at the same time, you know, and it gets pretty toxic at times. You get a lot of idiots in there just freaking putting out nonsense, but there's still a lot of great dialogue that takes place too. You have all this information that we all have access to, and we all have like an interest in like never before, and levels and layers and platforms to communicate and trade that information like never before. And we, like, the people that are paying attention know that something is wrong. We know that what the story that they've been telling us since day one about what happened to Charlie Kirk is a lie. And we want to know why they're lying. Why are they lying? And now they're just trying to spread misinformation. It's like, oh, they're anti-Semitic. They're just blaming it on Izzy like everything else. Or, oh, they're saying that there's a patsy, but, you know, they don't have any evidence. Oh, they're just conspiracy theorists. Oh, you know, all this bullshit. It's like, no. We know you're lying. Like, you've been caught in a lie, and we want you to explain yourselves. Like, end of story. End of story. And they can't combat that. They can't face the lie. They can't like give us any actual evidence or information. I mean, look at that debate. Andrew Wilson said in his opening statement that he read off of a freaking phone. He's sitting there saying that he has a text message that Charlie sent to security, and he's reading it off, and he's saying in the message that the left did it, and he was going to show it later. Well, guess what? Later came. He lost the debate. He got smoked, and then he said he wasn't going to show the message, that he was going to show it on his show. And then he had his show today, and he didn't show it. He said he's going to show it on Friday, and he took his show down. You can't even watch it anymore unless somebody screen recorded it. I think there's a couple clips going around on X. But like, it's just more lies, more empty promises. I don't know. I don't think Andrew Wilson has that message. And if he does, that's another red flag. Because why would Turning Point USA give him that message? Why wouldn't they put it out? Why didn't they put it out sooner? When everybody's questioning, saying that they didn't believe that the left killed Charlie, why didn't they say they had the message? Erica Kirk went on the Glenn Beck show and said there were no messages. Remember that? She said Charlie was not messaging anybody, that he was afraid he was going to die. I would know. I have his phone. And then she met up with Candace Owens. Candace Owens came out on her show and said, no, she spoke to Erica about that. And that Erica said she found the message. It was in his signal. She didn't think about that. She didn't think when her husband that she loved so much got assassinated publicly, and she got his phone, which I don't understand wasn't in evidence, but she didn't think to check all of his messages. She didn't think to check his Signal or Telegram or wherever it allegedly was. Just didn't think about it. I don't know. Andrew Wilson thought about it. Andrew Wilson thought about it over the debate, because Andrew Wilson got fucking smoked when he couldn't name one charge and Candace knew all 7. And then all of a sudden he's saying, did somebody message you? And she hands her phone right over, and PBD's going through the message. And he says, well, how do we know? How do we know it was a text message? So you mean to tell me that Andrew Wilson, who couldn't name one charge, who was confident enough because, he's so intelligent, that he could go in there and pay $300,000 to debate Candace Owens on a case that she's been following and investigating for almost a year? That somebody like that was stupid enough to put him in that situation and destroy his whole career and reputation, or whatever was left of it. He was smart enough to say, hey, check the Signal. But Erica Kirk, the new CEO of Turning Point USA, her husband gets killed, and she doesn't think to check the Signal or the Telegram. And then when everybody's making the accusations and don't believe the narrative, she doesn't come out and say, hey, I made a mistake. Hey, guys, there was a message. This is what it says. She just acts like it never happened, just plays it off. And then what? Gives it to Andrew Wilson 11 months later? Like, guys, what the fuck is going on? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? And then you got Paramount Tactical saying, oh, it's past time. Erica needs to start suing people. It's like, what? What? I don't know. It's just all crazy. I watch this stuff. I scroll through X. I watch these videos. I watch the coverage, and I'm just like, what type of world are my kids growing up in? Like, who actually runs our country? Like, what goes through their heads before they hit the pillow and go to sleep at night? Like, the people that make the actual decisions about the water we drink, the food we eat, the type of health care we have, the mass surveillance that seems to be popping up with all these flock cameras, all this technology, how they just take all of our metadata, whether or not we're going to go to war with other countries. Like, who are these people? How intelligent are they? Do they really have our best interests at heart? Are they good people? Are they the type of people that, want to live in a just world and honor our Constitution and the American people's constitutional rights? And if somebody does something wrong, investigate them and get justice and accountability? Or are they the type of people that are going to cover up the Epstein files and possibly have somebody murdered because of their influence to silence their voice? I just don't know. All right, I should slow down before I get myself in trouble. Stacy dropping more jewels with the GOAT trophy. We got Shifty again. Yo, Shifty, very generous tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Love your coverage of this, Bays. I'm a progressive Democrat, but this case matters to me. This is not about what side we're on. This is an evil force with no morality, and people's religious faith is being exploited. And you know what? I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, because I had a debate the other night with someone else who's, I don't know if he considers himself a Democrat, but he's definitely progressive. Because I'm a conservative Christian. But I also believe in the Constitution. I cherish the Constitution. I believe that America would be better off if we were rooted in Christian ethics. But I believe that when you're an American, that you have the right, you're an adult in America, you have the right to live however you want. Consenting adults behind closed doors do whatever the hell they want, dress however they want, live the lives that they want to live. You have a different faith, pray however you want. Like, that's what America is all about. Like, you shouldn't judge people by that. You shouldn't judge them for if they're gay or if they're a different religion, if they're Christian, Muslim, Jewish, whatever. I mean, in 2026, I don't know how I feel about these Satanists and Luciferianism, but that's another deal. But, my point is when you see these ideologies and these differences that we have, you have to realize that they're getting exploited. Like, the people that are making the bad decisions that are affecting all of us, they use that. They use sex. They use race. They use these ideologies to, it's like a divide and conquer tactic to keep us divided. And we have to unite. Like, people have to put all that bullshit to the side. You know what I mean? Like, there's just too much at stake. And at the end of the day, everybody should just respect each other. Like, that's all you have to do. Like, when I go to the park, when I bring my kids to the park to hang out, and then they're hanging out with other kids, I don't care. I don't know what their parents do behind closed doors. If I'm bullshitting with the other kids' parents, if they're gay, if they're this, if they're that, I don't care. All I care about is their kid being nice to my kid, and are they being respectful to me? That's it. That's it. You go to the grocery store and you see somebody that like an old lady or something. You like me, I always open up doors and hold doors open for people, you know, regardless of how they look. Like, don't judge people. Don't judge people, and don't allow these institutions or the mainstream media to brainwash you into judging people, because that's part of the problem. I've been watching it happen for decades, and it's just, we're just hurting each other. So yes, thank you for your generosity and for making this point. I think you're 100% right. Stacy, read Scotty's message. He texted you something juicy. Oh yeah, no, I noticed in the chat. I'll find that in a second. Was Hayden's COD drown? Oh, cause of death. I don't know yet. I don't know. I got somebody text me saying that they think it was a one or the other, but I don't want to say it because I don't want to put out misinformation. I have a source that believes they know, you know, but just like Candace Owens, I have to corroborate my sources. I have to vet them. I have to, you know, but yeah. At 36, I'll put it this way. I heard that it was not natural causes. That's all I want to say on it though at this time. Wims, hey Bays, what do you think about Trump supposedly converting? Listen, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think that he's a man of God, clearly. You know, his daughter is married to Jared Kushner. You know, but again, I don't, even if he did, I care about what he's doing to the country. You know, how people pray is that's another thing. You know, like when I say I'm a Christian, I still like, I believe that people's relationship with God is an individual situation. I'm not a big fan of organized religion. I think that it's done a lot of damage. I think it's caused a lot of conflicts. I believe you get these institutions with that much influence and that much power. Eventually, you're bound to have the wrong people in power, and there's going to be corruption. And we've seen it in every religion. We've seen it across the world. I'm not going to like get in here and start nitpicking and dropping names, but we all sin. And I think that, you know, when it comes to faith, that is a private situation. As far as that goes, you're probably right. If I had to guess, I don't know. His daughter did, but I wouldn't be surprised. I'll just say that. But I don't think that would be there's a lot of things with Trump right now that I'm more worried about instead of whether or not he's praying. Hold on, I'm looking for this video. All right, Scotty. Is this the one? Where is it? Scotty, you sent it on my phone. Oh, this one? Bear with me, guys. Hold on.
Recently, that Andrew Wilson was hired by.
Is there a timestamp you said? All right, 5 minutes in. All right, let's go. Oh, we're gonna go a little earlier. Play a little more of this. Let's see. All right, shout out to Scotty for sending me this, and Stacy for making it happen.
To be the opposite, the left's turning point.
At the end of the day, Andrew, my whole point here is that you're pretending like you actually gave a shit about Charlie Kirk when you didn't.
Okay,
you
great.
never cared about him while he was alive. You don't care about him now that he's dead.
Sure.
You're just trying to clout chase off of this shit because you know it gets views.
Do you have proof?
So what does Andrew do? He asks for evidence, which is what you must do.
Again, did you ever go to a Turning Point event?
Did I ever try to?
Oh, exactly. Because you didn't care about Charlie when he was alive, and you don't care now that he's dead.
That's quite a claim. Let's look at her logic.
You literally just said you never even tried to get into a
Yeah, I
turning
don't.
point
I
event.
didn't. So what? What does that have to do with anything?
Because you didn't care about Charlie Kirk.
Why? I never went to a turning point event. I don't like going to events. Does that mean I didn't respect or admire Charlie Kirk's work?
Why would that? How does that even equal? How does that equal?
If you
out?
cared
Can
about
explain
Charlie
that to
Kirk,
me?
why would you not go to his
So
events?
you only
So my evidence is an absence of evidence. You never went to a Charlie Kirk event. That's my evidence. You're doing all of this as a grift.
So that's what I did. Went over to their Capitol compound in Arizona, and I started training their debaters.
Make no mistake, this is an all-out declaration of war. I think they have come to realize that, well, our strategy has not been working.
And seeing that America feeds into it, the liberal op to TPUSA under Z, they don't care. So I put in a little request of my own, TPUSA. I requested that they hire me as the official Charlie Kirk conspiracy theorist liaison.
Andrew is going to do what Andrew does best, and he's going to take the fight and say, I will debate all of you.
So all these like Baron Coleman and Candace Owens and all of them, I will be happy to go answer all of your questions that you have, as long as we can do it live.
All of you, anywhere you want, just make it live. So far, none of the top names from what I can see.
Yeah, and how did that work out for you, Andrew? How did that work out? You know, this is what happens. This is like Andrew Wilson is a perfect example of a person who like drinks the Kool-Aid with the left versus right propaganda, you know, because at the end of the day, when you really break it down, you pay attention to who's making the decisions, they're controlling both sides. So this is a perfect example of somebody that drank the Kool-Aid and he's like, we got to blame the Democrats. We got to stop the Democrats. You know, even though Erica Kirk is retarded, his words, not mine, even though he was never a fan of Charlie Kirk, even though he doesn't give a shit about TPUSA or the truth for that matter, you know, he is a right-wing conservative with Christian ethics, and the Democrats are to blame for everything wrong with America. And he's going to be the man that's willing to step up and take them all on. And he's going to take on all the conspiracy theorists, you know, as long as the price is right and it's live. And he just made a fool out of himself. Made a fool out of himself. It's like insane. It's insane. Yo, Friday night, I had the biggest live that I'd ever had. I had like 1,800 people watching. And I had a similar thumbnail to the one that I have now, where it's him on a leash getting walked by Candace Owens like the fucking dog that he is. And my chat was getting spammed with Andrew Wilson fans. And then somebody was even sending supers saying that they knew him and that they would set up a debate. Like, I'm next on the list. First was Candace Owens. Now he's going to debate RealBayes. And it's like, what do you want to debate? You want to have a debate on whether or not you won or lost that debate? You sign me up for that one. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, dude, you got exposed. You got exposed. Andrew Wilson, like, he didn't just expose himself this weekend. He exposed Erica Kirk. He exposed TPUSA. He exposed Steven Crowder and all these other shills that are pushing this bullshit. He really did us all a favor. He helped expose the system and just how corrupt, how low that these people are willing to stoop. You know, TPUSA, when Charlie Kirk was alive and he was running it, it was one of the most respectable organizations. Yeah, they had their hot takes. They went at the Democrats. The Democrats didn't like them. But you would never see Charlie Kirk cutting a check or tapping a guy like Andrew Wilson to fight his battles for him. Never would have happened. That's an Erica Kirk TPUSA 2.0 move. You know, these people are just pathetic. Pathetic. I don't know. Again, I'm gonna slow down. I'm trying to have fun tonight. We're having a good time. I'm not trying to get myself in too much trouble. I get myself in enough trouble, to be honest. But yeah, Like, is anybody surprised with a clip like that? You know, just a grifter. These guys are all grifters. It's pathetic.
I have
But you know who I wanted to play? Yo, shout out to Didi. I caught the tail end of Didi's live tonight. I was on the panel with him on Friday. Me and Didi have been messaging back and forth. We've just both been really busy. We're trying to find time to link up and have a conversation. And if it goes good, which I think it will probably lead to a collaboration. Now, neither one of us have committed to that, although I've let it be known that I've wanted to work with Didi. That was the second time that I've shared a stage with him. But I want to have a one-on-one with him. I know that this week, I think on Wednesday, he's going live with Jesse on Fire. And I'm really looking forward to that. But Didi, like, I love the way the guy thinks. I don't necessarily agree with him on everything, but that's okay. You know, and I say that a lot. Like, I don't necessarily agree, but like, nobody agrees with anybody on everything, right? Like, do you know anybody in your life, like, is a friend, a relative, whoever, that you guys agree on everything? But I really, really like his thought process. And just how his brain works and how he processes information and how he thinks. Hold on. I do not have any timestamps. Oh, he's going to play. You know what? I'm going to start it right around the beginning because I saw that he's playing a clip that I played the other night. So I want to hear his take on it.
Let's kick this off with something pretty accurate.
Usually did before tours. We said a prayer and we asked the Lord to protect us. And we asked the Lord that
Yo, she's so creepy.
That's what we did. At one time, an employee of Turning Point, she has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business. What do you want to say to her and the other people that are putting these lies out into the world right now? Stop. What I am doing is releasing myself from the enemy's hands where he could have a foothold.
Yo, like you don't even need the music. You don't even need the music. Like, there is just something so dark about Erica Kirk since Charlie's been killed. It's just really creepy. And it's really sad, too, because if you watch her interviews from the past before she was with Charlie, she seemed like a really fun, cool girl to be around. Like, she did, you know? Like, if we'd have gotten that Erica Kirk, I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know. I try not to judge.
In me, but also wanting justice for them here on earth. Oh, of course. But we serve a just God, and I rest easy in knowing that. He's sovereign, but he's just. And so let the Lord handle that.
Did y'all catch that?
Look at
I know
her
we've
eyes.
seen this clip a ton of times. Why does she motion in that direction? Why does she look in that direction when she says, let the Lord?
He's sovereign, but he's just. And so let the Lord.
I know I'm not the only one that saw it.
No, you're not. I saw it too.
Can you imagine if you are on their side of the aisle and you're hiding behind this cloak of Christianity? And I confidently say hiding behind it because if you are an honest person, you're pretending that this is not weird. You're pretending that when you look at this as a human, we all feel that. You feel that when you're watching this, especially this beginning clip, there's something
What we usually
just that there. She's not even doing the thing with her eyes yet. There's something off here. I know I've talked about it. I don't want to just keep repeating myself. Something's off here. Respectfully, something's off. And the thing that I feel, and I've shared this before, is not human. Like, I'm not getting human vibes as from one human to the next. I'm not picking up human with this clip.
Really did before tours. We said a prayer.
Why did you do that? It's like she's struggling to fight some sort of possession.
Yo, hold on. No, that's not the one. There's a moment that her eyes like really light up.
And here's the thing. I can literally do this. But you can still see the human life in my eyes. You may say, bro, stop looking at me, Buckeye. That's weird. But this is different. All right.
That's what we did. At one time, an employee of Turning Point, she has been one of the main peddlers of these conspiracies, and she is making a huge amount of money on it. She is building her business. What do you want to say to her?
Some time to go back, and I got my video coming at a later time. Today's live would just be too long if I did it today. So I may have to just do it tomorrow. That I'm 100% convinced. This is what I will share. Now, I don't believe that Andrew Wilson was paid by TPUSA. I'm going to say it again. I do not believe that Andrew Wilson was paid by TPUSA. I believe that Andrew Wilson was paid by either the Daily Wire, but that's surface level thinking. I believe that Andrew Wilson was paid by TPUSA's overlords, which I did mention that in the original video yesterday. But to be clear, I believe that those quote unquote overlords are the same people that's funding the Daily Wire. Allegedly. Everything I say in this live is alleged. Everything I say in this live is alleged. And I'm going to showcase to you why it's not TPUSA. There are several things that he did that tells me that it was the overlords that paid him. So stay tuned for that, because we're going to break down that entire opening monologue from him. His whole opening statement is going to get demolished.
But he was not messaging people the day before saying, I'm going to be murdered. They're coming after me. Someone's going to kill me. He didn't say that. And I have his cell phone.
Let's run it back.
Charlie responded with this. Okay, great. Remind them that they are there for one person's security only, because I'm somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me. That was a message sent September 9th.
But he was not messaging people the day before saying, I'm going to be murdered. They're coming after me. Someone's going to kill me. He didn't say that. And I have his cell phone.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if somebody lied to Andrew Wilson? Like, this is just a hypothetical. Like, I don't take this with a grain of salt. I'm just being funny right now. But could you imagine if somebody lied to Andrew Wilson about that message to give him like an extra boost of confidence for his debate with Candace? And then when he's like, all right, like, you're going to give me the message? Like, I told everyone I was going to put it on my show. And they're just like jerking him around now. That would be some real grimy freaking maneuvering behind the scenes. Because he said he had the message. He said he was going to show it. He never did. I don't know. Let's listen to a little more DD, though. Yeah, I could watch DD all day. This guy's great.
Coming from his wife herself. Well, let's take it a step further. This is Charlie Kirk speaking with the gentleman I did the full breakdown. I'll try to find the video and link it in the description that I did weeks ago, talking about what is it called? The School of Scientology. All the Scientologists, the follower or the founder of the Scientology school, the School of Scientology. All of these people are students, colleagues, followers, admirers of Aleister Crowley. Right? All of these people are occultists, but if you want that video in its full breakdown, and they are heavily surrounded, that being TPUSA, with people who believe in the School of Scientology, and we know what it's Luciferianism. It's just a different version. It's Luciferianism. There is no middle ground. Either you're with God or you're not with God. There's no bunch of other things. No, is that
100%? And shout out to Teresa Better Life. She said something really good that resonated with me the other day. She was like telling a story, and it was basically saying that you have a fence, and you have, you know, God on one side, the devil on the other, and that you have people on the fence. And basically the moral of the story is that the devil owns the fence. Like, there is no fence. You're either with God or you're not. And you get some people that are kind of on the fence about it, and they don't realize that the devil owns the fence.
That side and then God's side. That's how this works. Let's listen to what Charlie Kirk himself said in this YouTube video on Grant Cardone's YouTube channel. At the 1921 mark is where I'm starting. This was 11 months ago. So this was last year. In 2025, let's hear who Charlie said that he was more in fear of. He said it himself. All right. You all know my position on what I believe truly happened that day with Charlie, but it doesn't change what Charlie said. And surprise, surprise, it wasn't the left.
I mean, anybody that's got big visibility is going to have a lot. Can you just talk about, have they aided you? Have they provided you with the impetus for more creativity and more solutions and more funding?
No. Well, so there's two types of haters. There's the, I was trying to find a nice way to say this, but I'm not going to say it. There's
I can say it for you.
Yeah, there's like the purple-haired jihadist on a college campus that wants to murder me and my family.
Oh.
That, like,
I don't have those kind of haters.
Yeah, I know. Those people don't bother me, whatever.
See, my haters are nothing now.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they have weapons. We get death threats almost every day. That's part of the game of the space that I'm in. The other type of haters, though, are the ones that are the close proximity ones. And these are the ones I know that had some sort of relationship with me and either betrayed me or deceived me or said that I could not succeed.
Let's just go back. What did he just say? What did we hear Charlie Kirk say himself? Not some alleged text message that's most likely going to be AI. No. What did we hear Charlie say himself? Let's just go back.
People say, hey, I have the most haters, but I can't have the most. I know you have a lot.
I think I got more.
And Trump's got a lot. I mean, anybody that's got big visibility is going to have a lot. Can you just talk about, have they aided you? Have they provided you with the impetus for more creativity and more solutions and more funding?
No. Well, so there's two types of haters. There's the, I was trying to find a nice way to say this, but I'm not going to say it. There's
I can say it for you.
Yeah, there's like the purple-haired jihadist on a college campus that wants to murder me and my family.
Oh.
That, like,
I don't have those kind of haters.
Yeah, I know. Those people don't bother me, whatever.
See, my haters are nothing now.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they have weapons. We get death threats almost every day. That's part of the game of the space that I'm in. The other type of haters, though, are the ones that are the close proximity ones. And these are the ones I know that had some sort of relationship with me and either betrayed me or deceived me or said that I could not succeed. That is a whole different, those actually get my attention.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's a lot more relatable than most people realize on the surface. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I've been dealing with people like that my whole life. My whole life. From the time I was in school to once I started working. Sometimes you get people like that in your own family. You know, like, there are a lot of people in this world that will doubt you and that won't believe that you're capable of doing and living out your dreams, and that you're not, they'll think that you're not capable of doing the things that you want to do and accomplish your goals, because they're projecting their own insecurities and their own doubts about themselves. There are a lot of people that feel like they can't do certain things, so they think that it's impossible for you to do them. And then once you prove them wrong and you start doing it, especially if you break away from them and you do it without them, then all of a sudden they get jealous and they get angry and they get bitter about it. And it's very common. I feel like it's just part of the human condition. And it's something that everyone needs to identify. And you got to just distance yourself from those people. You know, I know I've had to do it, and it sucks, you know, because sometimes it's people that you really love and really care about. And for whatever reason, they're just not on board and they're just not rooting for you. And if you don't cut those ties and establish those boundaries and create that distance, you know, you're going to be at risk of allowing those types of people to drag you down.
Just like the random troubled person on a campus, whatever.
So the obvious, I want to hurt Charlie Kirk, doesn't bother you
has
as
zero.
much.
In fact,
Yes.
I actually believe that I am doing my job as a truth teller. The more that those people are trying to come and murder.
Yes. Yes.
That was a wild hot take at the end.
Yeah.
I know that might sound crazy, but in the world that we are in, truth telling is a signature of whether or not you are receiving hate is a signature of whether or not you're telling the truth.
And a sign of success.
Exactly.
Now, so the group you worry about is not
even worry, but that draws my attention. And
it's the inner circle inside.
Yes, or people that suddenly started acting in a way where they compromise.
You blew them up. Now they forget that.
Yeah, something like that. Or
they betrayed you internally.
Sure. Do you have someone you have in mind, Rick Anderson? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, yeah, every.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Dude, I love the game. I love the game, though. I got to tell you, the game's good.
I will say I'm a big Michael Jordan fan. I've mentioned him before.
Michael was vicious.
And this is an important thing.
Yeah.
Is that everyone should watch The Last Dance, Netflix, greatest. By the way, I'm from Chicago. And can we just settle this once for all? There is not even a comparison between LeBron James and Michael Jordan.
100%.
It is ridiculous.
100%.
Okay, I agree with that statement, by the way, but we're getting off into some other things.
The Last Dance was a phenomenal
that needs to be said
documentary
here?
too.
Charlie Kirk just said it himself. He just said it himself. If Andrew Wilson ever drops, doubt that he will. He says that he's going to drop the text messages Friday along with another overwhelming amount of evidence that's going to debunk all the things that he could have did on Candace's show and embarrassed her. He didn't have it then. But he has to drip the evidence along, keep him coming back to the show.
That's another thing. If he had it, why wouldn't he use it? He knew that he lost the debate. That would have been the best way for him to salvage his reputation and save face. It's like, all right, I lost the debate, but here's the proof. Or here's the overwhelming evidence. And if he had such overwhelming evidence, why did he only put his percentage of certainty at 75 to 85%? Like, wouldn't that type of overwhelming evidence put him at 100? Or at least 90, 95? Right? I don't know. I don't know if Andrew Wilson, if he has this evidence. Or maybe it's just bullshit. And he has bullshit. He kind of knows it's bullshit. And he's just still towing the party line. Let's see what Didi has to say. I didn't see this part yet.
But you just said at the very beginning of the debate that it's wrong to financially benefit off of the death of a good man. Only for you to later say that in the same quote unquote debate. Well, Charlie Kirk himself just said that group doesn't concern him at all because he feels that he's doing his job. And that was last year. Now, I caught a comment. Somebody said, what was the date of this? I can only tell you the date that it was dropped on YouTube. And let's look together. That would be 11 months ago. September the 12th is when it was dropped. Oh, wow. Bro, this was...
Oh, shit. That video came out 2 days after Charlie was killed?
This was just 2 days afterwards, bro.
That's wild.
Wow. 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 Let's dig in it some more. I wanted to share that big drop here at the very beginning for those of you that haven't seen that or heard Charlie talk about that. And I'll try to be sure to link it in the description after the fact. Let me share something else. So I shared this photo. Where is it? I shared this photo here. And I said, yep, basically. And it's a recreated image of, I mean, yeah, that's basically what happened. Let's I want to read this pinned comment here. Somebody says, let's take a few seconds to think about these 4 questions in regard to the Charlie Kirk unaliving. According to a retired LEO lieutenant of 25 years, he says only 4 basic questions need to be asked, and every police officer in America knows this. 1, was the crime scene secured? Was the transport vehicle secured into evidence? Was the body preserved into evidence? Were all articles of clothing, jewelry, phone, wallet, microphones he was holding or wearing, everything on the deceased preserved and entered into evidence? When the answers are no, 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 and no, case dismissed. And it could also mean something else. If not, you know you're dealing with a criminal conspiracy. I would 100% agree.
I agree too.
Crime to fake your death. Police officers are fired for these types of failures. FBI are not. I want to get even deeper. Came prepared. I want to read something from Ian Carroll. Ian Carroll, let me go and find it. Shared there's a tweet rather from Ian Carroll a few months ago, and when he shared this, I mean, I could not have said this any better, because there was a lot of contention around the term patsy. What does patsy mean? Well, I'm gonna read this from Ian Carroll because you give credit where it's due, and the way he shared it, I couldn't have said it any better. And what makes this even better is that he's responding to another large influencer who was criticizing Candace in particular. So let's read this together. And this is all the things that I've been saying on this show for a number of years about how patsies and psyops work. And Ian Carroll shared it spot on. He says, Sean, that is to Sean Strickland, MMA. He says, Sean, I love you, man, but that's not how patsies work. They don't pay Oswald. Well, it probably would make sense for me to read the original tweet so that it would make a lot more sense for some of you. So to make sure this is zoomed in enough, maybe I can zoom in a little bit more for some of you. So it says here, what would it take for Tyler Robinson to be a patsy? You got to pay off Tyler. You got to pay off the gay mentally ill boyfriend. You got to pay off everyone around Charlie and countless more. The math just don't math. All right. And this was back in July. He said this. You really think the CIA would trust that mentally deranged gay to keep a secret? No way. Completely missed the mark by a long shot. Ian Carroll said what I would have said. He just said it a lot better. Sean, I love you, man, but that's not how patsies work. They don't pay Oswald to be the JFK patsy. Money isn't a powerful enough motivator for this type of thing. Usually what they do is get leverage via blackmail or other threat or coercion, and sometimes promises, maybe memberships into a club or group. I want to say for the record before I forget, everything I just stated in this paragraph here literally applies to Andrew Wilson. That further substantiates my claim that I am very convinced that he was paid and or sent to go see Candace. Many of you all were saying, or some of you all were saying, well, we already knew that. No, you figured it. It's one thing to be suspicious of it, suspected, because he's admitted that he was commissioned to teach them how to debate, which, by the way, I want to state this for the record. I do not believe that Andrew Wilson was ever paid to teach them how to debate. I'm going to say it again.
Well, who do you think? You just have to ask yourself for a minute. Who did Andrew Wilson train to debate? Right? Because isn't it usually other influencers and people within the organization that get on the stage and do these debates? Like, people are professionals. So who did he train? I don't know. Let's keep going.
Again, I don't think he was. I believe it was somebody that said it was thinking the same thing I was thinking as well. And it may have been Baron Coleman. I don't believe that he was commissioned. I believe, just like I said in my last live, my live with Brian, the auditor, I said what I believe has happened is that Andrew Wilson has gotten ahead of the narrative, like he did with the Freemason thing, him admitting that he's a Freemason. He knows the internet sleuths are gonna sleuth. They're gonna do what they do. So he wants to get ahead of the narrative because he know he's rising up the ranks in popularity in different circles and spaces. So if I come forward and I tell you that I'm a Freemason and I only made it to Master Mason and I still have my Freemason Bible, whenever you come across some information that exposes me, there's no reason you should be scared. There's no reason you should be shocked. There's no reason you should be afraid of my intentions. Nope, you should trust me because you know why? I volunteered that information. So surely, clearly, I have nothing to hide. It's not how this works. That's not how this works. All right? That's not how this works. I believe he did the same thing with this. I believe he was seen at the headquarters, and I believe they brought him to the headquarters. And by them, I don't just mean TPUSA. I mean they're overlords. Everything I say in this live is alleged. And I believe what they told him was what the plan was. But hey, if there are certain people at TPUSA that may have saw him here, and they may be Candace's source, because we haven't quite figured out who that could be. We fired quite a few people, but somebody here could still be doing it. So to save face, let's just say you came here to train people. Y'all keep that in mind.
Yo, I love the way Didi thinks. I love the way this guy's brain works. Like he's a real thinker, and he's an objective thinker. He questions everything, but he questions things from different angles, and you can tell that he plays out different scenarios in his head to try to come to the most rational explanation for things. And he's been studying this game for a very long time. You can tell that he's done a lot of research. He has very good pattern recognition, something that I also take pride in, and he knows his shit.
All right. Because everything in this statement literally could apply to Andrew Wilson. Usually what they do is get leverage via blackmail or other threat or coercion, or sometimes promises, maybe membership into a club or a group like Freemasonry. Or maybe blackmail, because as you all know, not only has Andrew Wilson defended Mr. Epstein himself, there's a difference in being a pedophile with 3-year-olds compared to 16-year-olds. Being a pedophile, I shouldn't have said the word, but being a creep to a 14-year-old is not the same thing as being a creep to a 2-year-old. That's the argument he chose to make. He's willing to down that hill.
Yeah, Megyn Kelly also made that same argument. Unbelievable.
He's also defended Greg before. Did you know that? Arguing that, making the point, trying to get a gotcha to his opponent, stated that even some women, while they are being raped, have, what's the safe word to say on YouTube? ORGASMSs. They still have those even while.
Yo, what is wrong with him for saying that? Not Didi. I'm talking about Andrew. Like if you're going in that bag, if you're trying to say shit like that to win a debate, you are on the wrong side of things.
Being great sometimes. Why would you say something like that, dog? Then they give them a part of the picture with the role that requires them to go somewhere or do something. Exactly. The patsy doesn't know they are setting themselves up into the shot. Along the way, if you either had blackmail on them in the beginning, like maybe they were looking at videos of children, for example, or they committed crimes in their role in the larger plot, you seriously mess up their ability to just prove their innocence in a court of law. Very well said. Also could apply to Andrew Wilson, not just Tyler Robinson. Because it requires you to explain how you were looking at videos of kids or admitting to the crimes you did commit just to attempt to tell the truth. Then there's the MK Ultra angle, but that's more of a gray area of speculation, so we'll skip that. The point is, it's complicated. Intelligence agencies have been practicing this for decades, but they're not perfect at it. They're not perfect at it, and that's why there's all sorts of massive inconsistencies in the story and the details about Tyler, his roommate, and the unaliving or the pow-powing in general. When a crazy 20-year-old pulls off a sloppy unaliving, all the pieces line up, all the evidence is there. You get gunshot residue. The dogs can find the gun. The wound matches the caliber. The timeline is obvious. We can track his device everywhere he carried it. This case has a whole basket of irregularities that scream intel agency. And they're claiming the 30-06 stopped the human neck, which is insane. Here's Rob O'Neill, which we've heard him of Team 6, which I have my opinions about the pow-powing of Osama bin Laden. I don't think that actually happened, but that's a video for another day. It doesn't change what he said here. All right.
Yep.
Before we continue to go,
Yeah, no. He had a really good breakdown of that. Today's been a great day for content. You got that video. You got Ian doing the freaking almost 6-hour marathon. And yo, if you didn't watch that, because I'm gonna sign off really soon, definitely take the time to watch Ian's breakdown. And if you didn't watch Dee Dee's, that clip that we were just watching, that was from his live tonight. Also, something I want to address that I haven't been talking about, but I notice a lot of people have been saying it in the chat. I wanted Danks to break the news himself, but yes, for the people that are asking, Danks' wife had the baby. The baby's healthy. The little Dankster has arrived. So he will be back in a couple of days. I don't think he's not going to be going live tomorrow. I don't think. Oh, maybe he will. But by Wednesday, he should be back. Also, guys, what did you guys think about the image in the thumbnail? Actually, I have a question for you guys. Have you seen this image around social media? Nope, not that one. Where is it? Have you guys seen this around social media in the last couple of days? I take pride in this one because I put this one in a group chat, and then I started seeing it everywhere. Actually, I probably shouldn't be telling. I probably shouldn't even be taking credit for that. But yes, that was my work. For those that don't know. All right, we're going to read a couple more supers, and then we're going to get out of here. Stacy with the mic drop. Wims, $10. Thank you very much. Candace Owens isn't dripping evidence. She's taking us on a journey of truth. She's telling Charlie's story of life while she discovers the truth about his death. It's tragically beautiful. Yeah, I mean, look, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. There was a time that I wish that people would start putting out more evidence until I started making content and getting my own contacts and my own sources. And I found myself in situations where I had things that I kind of like really wanted to put out, but I kind of knew that I couldn't for one reason or the other. So yeah, I'm not questioning Candace or Baron in any, you know, at all with any of that anymore. I know some people still do, but like I said, once you start getting involved yourself and you see how things really go, you see it from a different angle and a different perspective. And I think that they've both done a fantastic job. And we wouldn't be where we are today with what we know and the information that we have and the amount of exposure that this case and other cases have gotten without them. And I'm grateful. We got Elite. Wouldn't each additional person that TPUSA sucks in to attack and grift also be complicit in the cover-up? P.S. Member for 3 months, but here since day one. Ian, shout out. Yes. Yes, you have been here since the beginning. Thank you very much. But you know what? I think that in some capacity that's a very fair argument to make. That if you have people that are still pushing the Fed slop and they're ignoring the evidence. Listen, if they're presenting the evidence and they're presenting the anomalies and they see it differently or are at least pretending to see it differently, that's one thing. But if you have people that are just completely ignoring everything, that we've seen and not calling out the lies or addressing them in any capacity, and not talking about the fact that the footage that the prosecution presented at the preliminary hearing was altered and possibly tampered with. Well, I mean, it's pretty clear it appears to be tampered with. But if they're not even addressing any of this stuff, then yes, I believe to some degree that you could definitely see them as being complicit in the cover-up. But it just sucks. You know, the fact of the matter is, a lot of these people, they know who they work for, they know where their bread gets buttered, and they're just doing their jobs, and they don't really care. And that's just the sad truth. You know, a lot of people in this space, especially these bigger names that, you know, they have a lot of their own donors that they have to answer to. They have their sponsors, they have their contacts, they have their sources, they have their affiliations. You know, they want to speak at AmFest, or they hope, you know, maybe the Republican, whatever the hell they call that, when the guy wins the primary and they have the convention. You know, they want to speak at these big events. They want to have that access to power. So they just do their jobs. They just be good little boys. They keep pushing the Fed slop, pushing the narratives, and that's it, because they don't give a shit. Stacy again. Might as well face it. I'm addicted to Bays. Listen, I'll never get tired of reading comments like that. Thank you very much. I'm addicted to you guys too. I love doing this. Are you kidding me? I love being able to go live. And it's funny too, because in the beginning, I was so camera shy. I was so uncomfortable. I did not know if I was ever really going to be able to do this. I was making pre-recorded videos and putting them out like episodes a couple times a week. And it was actually Danks. Like, I knew I was going to go live eventually, but there were a lot of people saying it. Stacy too. Even before I met Danks, Stacy was messaging me saying, you got to go live. You got to go live. And once I started doing it, I just got hooked, and I just love it. I love the engagement. I love the interaction. I love making myself accessible to you guys, you know, as much as I can, and getting the feedback and getting the information. And, you know, there are a lot of you that have been with me since the very beginning, before I was even making content, when I was just another person in the chat with you guys. So that's really how I got here. You know, like, I was just somebody in the chat, like, trying to give tips, trying to get involved, just being nice, interacting with people. And I, you know, the community took me in with open arms, and, you know, I felt very welcome, and I loved it. And I felt like I had something to say, and I started making content. I got in front of the camera, I got my voice heard, and here we are. And this is a movement, and it is still growing, and there's still a lot of work to do. And I think that there are some of you guys that are probably feeling the same way that I was, that you have something to say, and you should have your voice get heard. And that's why, just like what I was saying before about the real Amoroso, that, you know, he wants to make content. He's been talking about it for a while. We've been messaging back and forth, and I'm going to take the time and try to get him going too. Same thing with Dale. I've been waiting for Dale. I haven't even seen her in the chat in a couple weeks. I don't even know where she is, but no, it hasn't been a couple weeks, maybe like a week or so. But, you know, she said she's going to make content too. Like, we all have to get involved. We all have a role to play in this. Like, you can't be on the sidelines anymore. You know, it's like I was saying earlier, the devil owns the fence. And on that note, I'm going to wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm not sure if I will be back tomorrow. I might be. No guarantees. But I may be live tomorrow at some point. If not, I'll put out some clips. Tuesday, I will definitely be live. If I'm not a part of that members only with Liz and ADN, I will be doing a solo. Maybe I'll do both, depending on the timing, if it all lines up. And then Wednesday, I'll be doing my Wednesday night live. And then Thursday will be my members only interview with ADN. And then we're back to Friday. And unless Ian's going to be going live again on Fridays, like I said, I will continue to unofficially take over for Free Speech Friday. And then Saturday night, we got the show with Danks. They Think You're Stupid podcast, 10 p.m. Eastern time. And then it's Sunday again. So you guys will be seeing a lot of me. And there's, like I said, there's a lot of work to be done. and we all got to do our part. And I appreciate all you guys. There was a lot of generosity tonight. That always makes things a little easier. And thank you. I love you guys for it. And I'm going to just keep being me and keep doing my thing and keep giving you guys reasons to keep tuning in. Let's fucking go. We like, seriously, we have to do something. We have to make changes. We have to save our country. And just remember, the devil owns the fence. So be kind, be grateful, do something nice for somebody, and I will probably see you tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody.